Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Red Devil Experience. My name is Eric. Hope everybody is doing well. Ruben Amorim's future is absolutely up in the air. Reports coming out that are still firmly behind Ruben Amorim, but there are a lot of reports that are flying in the face of each other, with reports of succession being planned. The club trying to deny that there is succession being planned and that they are going to stick with Ruben Amorim. They are reluctant to sack Ruben Amorim. Feels like deja vu all over again. I think we were here with Erik ten Hag about the same time last season, and you could probably link it to other couple managers as well. So we're gonna get into all of it. There's a lot of stuff that has come out, obviously, that was quite clear and obvious that was going to happen after the last result against the last match versus Brentford. So there's a lot of stuff we got to talk about. Please make sure you smash the like button because it helps the channel grow. So get that done. Hit that like button. Help us get pushed out there. Help us get viewed more. And if you enjoy the content and you're not already a subscriber, make sure you subscribe. Welcome to the family. Welcome to the community. And have the notification bell icon on so you don't miss a live and you're here for all the updates. Shout out to all the chat members that are already here. I see Box is here and Lyle's here. Axe is here as well. Or was here. But listen, let's just get straight into the show because there's a lot of stuff we got to get through. A lot of big updates, a lot of information, and there's stuff actually coming out right now. So make sure you stick around because we're going to get to all the latest updates that are coming out right now that other channels aren't going to be covering because they've already gone live. So let's just start off with how pretty much it started off. And Simon Stone coming here with an update saying Manchester United remain supportive of Ruben Amorim despite the damaging loss at Brentford. Sources insist minority owner Sir Jim Ratcliffe is backing Ruben Amorim and feels it's only fair to judge the Portuguese on a full season with what he views as the right team. Multiple suggestions from external sources that short lists of replacements have been drawn up have been dismissed by United officials who are adamant that no one is being lined up to replace Amorim. Nevertheless, speculation will continue, increasing the strain on the 40-year-old before Saturday's game with informed Sunderland at Old Trafford. Now, there's a lot there, but we got to jump to this real quick. The United hierarchy are reluctant to axe Amorim despite a dismal run of only 33 points from his 34 Premier League games in charge. If they do pull the trigger, they are likely to wait until after Saturday, November 1st to reduce the level of compensation. Although Amorim has said publicly he would walk away without a payoff, it's believed sacking him now would cost Manchester United around £12 million. There seems to be a bit of discrepancy around this fee. I see some of the big Manchester United aggregator accounts quoting this fee at £4 million. But a lot of the others are quoting this, and it's been quoted for quite a little bit of time now at £12 million. So I don't know which one is the right one. I think I'm going to go with the £12 million because that was the one that was quoted first, and that's the one that's been talked about the most. The 4 million was one that I just saw, and there hasn't been really any sort of backing by it by, you know, I mean, Ben Jacobs is linking it to 12 million. The where I saw 4 million was coming from a United fan account pretty much. So yeah, I think the 12 million pound fee is probably the one that is realistic, and then it obviously will drop off after November the 1st because it'll be past the year. And one of the other updates here is that Ruben Amorim is described as a lonely man by sources. In training, he often walks away from the team. After losses, he sits on his own and doesn't speak to anyone. One says the job has broken him, and he looks a ghost of his former self from first joining. The atmosphere internally is described as one of the lowest it has been in recent times, having all enthusiasm, which was built upon the summer entering the new season, crushed. Club sources insist that reports of the club looking at other managers is speculation, and that's coming from Sully Talks. Now, I'm going to stop there before we transition to anything else. There's a lot that came out here on this. I mean, again, there's similar things going on in terms of they're looking sort of at the character of the man. They did this to Ten Hag when it was towards the end. Has it broken him? I mean, I would probably say to some sort of degree it has. I mean, if you're the guy in charge, you're there week in, week out, you're doing things on the training pitch, you're trying to fix the problems, nothing is working, results aren't going your way. You know, as fans, a lot of us can't believe what we see, you know, whether you're in the ground during the match or you're watching it on the television. We can't believe what we're seeing. I can only imagine the manager being in the position that he's in and watching his team putting the performance and displays that they're doing. And we've talked numerous times and many times on this channel and on this show of how this club will swallow you up, it will eat you up, and it will destroy you if you are not the person that is meant to be at this football club. If you don't have the character, if you don't have the attitude, if you don't have the mentality, along with the ability, this football club will chew you up and spit you out like you were a bad dinner, right? And this has happened to players, it's happened to past managers, and I wouldn't be surprised if this is, you know, quite accurate, yeah? Because I can only imagine. I mean, there is an immense amount of pressure around this job. There are numerous amounts of problems at this football club. Some are with the manager, some go above the manager, some go below the manager. But there are problems all over this football club. There's been problems all over this football club. We have been trying to sort out the problems of this football club, but when you make 13 years of mistakes and problems created out of those mistakes, it's very hard to solve it within 1 to 2 years. It's not something that's just going to happen overnight. Fans have lost patience over these 13 years. Toxicity has grown within the football club a lot more. And we're to a point where we're past the breaking point. We are broken. We've probably been broken for quite some time. But my 2 cents more on it is I truly believe at this moment in time, at this point in time, I don't care what, you know, I at this point, I don't really care anymore. Sack the manager, keep the manager, whatever it is. Switch the formation to a 4-3-3. I think we're in a lot of deeper shit than that. And truly, I believe we're probably not going to be able to do what we want and get to where we want unless we actually get a full ownership change. If you look at the other football clubs that have sort of transformed themselves, they've gone through something like that. We are doing something that is not that. Yeah, I mean, the Glazers are still here. Sir Jim has come in, and while he's taken over the football operations, they're operating with 2 hands tied behind their back. Because why, as a minority owner, would you continue to pump in the money that is needed to actually do what needs to be done at this football club to fix it for once and for all? And he's not going to do it. He hasn't been doing it. They're taking alternative routes. There's no guarantee these alternative routes are actually going to work, and it's making the process a lot longer than it could be if we just had a straight swap. So I don't see United coming out of this, even if you change the manager. Sure, results might be a little bit better. Sure, results might be better. Maybe we play a little bit better. But will it lead to anything sustainable over the next few years? Probably not. I could also see a scenario where whoever comes in, whether it's Xavi, Glasner, God forbid it's Gareth Southgate, whatever other manager you want to name, I can see within 1 year to 2 years time, we'll be back right in the same spot. People will turn on the manager, and we'll probably end up sacking them as well because they'll fail. Our football club is not in the space to do what is needed at our football club, yeah? So, and before we jump to the next segments, let me get to the chat. So Axe starts off and says, "Look, I went nuts after our last defeat, but enough is enough. Maybe I am nuts, but even Rooney told it. This isn't Manchester United, and we can't afford to be like this. We can't get used to defeats." But listen, just real quick, Axe. I don't care if anybody is Ruben in, Ruben out, or anything like that. you were timed out for 24 hours because you started attacking me, this channel, and the people of this channel. I don't care what, you're allowed to say what you want. We let you in here. But when you start calling this channel an echo chamber, and when you start saying nonsense that we don't deserve your opinion, well, that's why I timed you out. Just so you know. That's why I timed you out of this channel for 24 hours. Because you said we didn't deserve your opinion, so I did what you asked, and I put it out, okay? Other than that, you are allowed to come in here. You are allowed to have a difference of opinion. That's the point of this channel. That's why you're here. That's why you're not banned or anything like that. But when you start attacking people of the channel, and you start attacking me, and you start attacking the channel, that's where I crossed the line. Because now we're not talking about football, yeah? Now we're not talking about the differences and the circumstances at our football club. I welcome different opinions. I want different opinions. I would like as many people to have as many different opinions as possible in this channel, okay? So well, we'll skip past that now. We've addressed it. Axe says maybe Xavi just wants a bigger salary in Saudi. Well, there's news on Xavi. There's news about the Saudi thing. So we're gonna get to that. And Axe says Amorim has to be a gentleman and walk away for free. The least he can do at this point. Well, you know what? It's a bit hard to kind of argue with that, yeah, because of the way things have gone. I mean, 9 wins out of 34 matches is absolutely, I don't even know the word to describe it. Horrible, dreadful, disgusting, unacceptable. It is. It's really, really bad, yeah? The thing is that obviously that went into last season, and there was a lot of different circumstances, and we were hoping that this season can go a lot smoother, it can go a lot better. But obviously what we're seeing, it's just completely untenable, isn't it? That's why I'm here. I can't say Ruben in, but I can't say Ruben out either. It's just you just, it's not gonna work, yeah? It's just not gonna work unless he does some of the radical things that he's refusing to do, which I'm talking about. I think, really, he needs to take a massive gamble. And I don't think he's going to do it. And I'm not talking about playing a 4-3-3, which he could do that. And some people will say that he should do that. I still don't think that would necessarily work. But my bigger discrepancy with what's going on is obviously Bruno in the midfield. Nobody wants to see that. No United fan is asking for that. No United fan thinks it's a good idea, and nobody is supporting it and saying that it'll work itself out, yeah? We're all set on that. But some of these players that are there, that are letting him down, he needs to take them out of the squad. And I think, and I know I've been on the fence about this, and I've had my reservations, but I think at this moment in time, he's got to throw the balls to the wall, and he's got to say, listen, this experience shit that I'm doing, these guys they've let me down last season. They haven't gotten to the point where I want them to get to. And I think he needs to take a chance on some of the younger players. I think Mainu needs to come into that midfield and play next to Ugarte. I think Bruno, he needs to figure out something with him, whether he puts him up top or he takes him out. He needs to be able to sub Bruno Fernandes off. You know, it's some of the decisions he makes is quite puzzling and backwards to me. It's ass backwards, yeah? Because you sub Bruno off in the Chelsea match where the team was playing actually good, you know, until we got the red card. We went defensive and stuff, and then it was quite boring, yeah? But he is the captain. He is your captain. You keep him on the pitch always. You sub him off in a match where we are trying to hold the lead, and you take your leader and captain off during that match, which doesn't make sense because literally we go and play a match versus Brentford. He misses a penalty. He's playing like absolute shit, and he doesn't get subbed off. Those two decisions there are backwards. It should have been the other way around. He should have stayed on for Chelsea, and he should have came off for Brentford. and he made these decisions are ass backwards. Now that's on him. Those are minor things. They are problems and they're mistakes, and he has to stop doing them. But I think some of these experienced players, Luke Shaw is another one, he's got to stop relying on him. Euro, in everybody's opinion, did nothing wrong. Euro should be starting next to De Ligt. Bruno comes out, does an interview after the match, blames Euro for Phil Foden scoring a goal, and Euro doesn't start a game after Bruno does that interview. And Bruno threw Euro on under the bus, yeah? So, he's removed Euro out of the lineup because essentially he seems to have agreed with Bruno Fernandes on that. So, he's wrong on that. Bruno's wrong for that. There's multiple problems going on here. Multiple problems. Manchester United is a massive project, says Lyle. It absolutely is. It's always been. It's even bigger because of where we are, yeah? We're in a disaster period. We have shit owners. And our ownership situation is not a good one. Let's just, let's just say what it is. It's not a good one. Like, there was hope that maybe we might be able to operate if Sir Jim takes over and INEOS take over the football operations and the Glazers kind of just stay in the background. Maybe it'll be a little bit like what we had when Fergie was here and we had David Gill and they sort of took care of all the footballing things and the Glazers were just kind of in the background taking all the money and doing whatever they do best for commercialism and stuff like that. But, I mean, that point is different than this point. This point, we have made 13 years of mistakes that are still currently hurting us, mistakes that we are struggling to rectify, mistakes that we are struggling to change. Our financials have gotten much worse. And I had some hope that in due time we might see some results in terms of, listen, when you go to make a change like INEOS made, it's not necessarily a bad change, especially if you had an football identity that didn't really work and you want to set one, okay? That's fine. If we don't have the money, if we don't have the needs, and we don't have the funds to make such a massive change, then I don't know what they were thinking. I don't know how they thought it would work. And looking back on it, they've royally fucked this because they rushed Ruben in, and that's clearly has been a mistake, and it hasn't worked. It's destroyed his reputation, it's destroyed his opportunity, and it's destroyed his chances because they gambled on it. They figured that, you know what, it'll be sort of a free hit. I don't think either of them, INEOS or Ruben, I don't think any of them expected it to go as bad as it did when he came in November. And it did go that bad. It's destroyed the amount of time that he's going to be able to stay here. This season's not going well either, which is making it even shorter. The window that we had was about like a 5 or a 6. Yeah? On paper, with name-wise and fan hype, people were calling it a 7 and an 8. It's a 5 or 6 if you look at the squad and what we actually need to do to change things. We are limited in our ability to move. We are limited in our ability to make the changes that are necessary because we are being compressed down upon by 13 years of disastrous mistakes that are still affecting us right now. Mistakes under Ten Hag and everybody else that came before him. When Richard Arnold was there, when Ed Woodward was there, this has all led to this moment in time, this period that we find ourselves in. Lyle says, I applaud Amorim for taking up the challenge. Unfortunately, the task is currently kicking his ass. But listen, the thing is, Lyle, is that I really do feel at this moment in time, whoever comes in, it's going to kick their ass. It's going to kick their ass. This is why I can't do this whole thing of I'm going to get super excited for the next guy. If it's anybody besides Gareth Southgate. If Gareth Southgate becomes our next manager, I'm telling you right now, I will be Gareth Southgate out day one. I won't give him a chance, and this football club is absolutely dead. Okay, and INEOS can fuck off, and the Glazers can fuck off, and everybody can fuck off. Yeah, if I don't want to see him here. I don't want to see that football. I would rather just go bang my head against the wall. I don't want to see that. Besides him, and we're gonna have to talk about him, but besides him, anybody else, I will back them. But I just feel like whoever it is, it could literally be anybody. Xavi, Julian Nagelsmann, etc., etc. I just feel like they will fail. I just feel like no matter what, I can't think of a manager out there. It doesn't matter the name. It doesn't matter how big they are. There could be a potential that makes one the best option, but I just don't think that we'll be able to do what we really need to do for them to succeed, because I think we need to do massive things and we're not going to be able to do it. We're quite limited in our movement. We're quite restricted. And it's even just so by, forget the mistakes and all the bad financial stuff that we did with players and bad signings and bad recruitment. Our ownership structure is a fucking disaster. Because if it was just INEOS and INEOS own 100%, our situation would be different. Now, maybe they're not good enough. Maybe they're incompetent. Maybe they're bad at their job. Maybe they're stupid. That's one side of the argument. But when you really sit there and think about it, how can they be trying to change the football identity of our football club when we need like double to triple of what they're doing, and they can't do double to triple of what we're doing because they only own a minority stake? From a business aspect, it doesn't make sense for Sir Jim and INEOS to pump in all that money when they don't stand to reap the majority of the rewards. They would fix the Glazers' problems. They would be basically just handing the Glazers a free ticket, free cash. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't work. So the way I feel at this current moment in time, you go get, for the people out there that want a new manager and that think the 4-3-3 or a 4-2-3-1 or a 4-3-1-2 or whatever formation you want to play, go get it. Go do it. But I just feel like United are probably going to be screwed for at least the next 5 years. And the only way we actually get out of this once and for all is this shit needs to collapse totally, 100%. I mean, we're out of Europe. If we go out of Europe again, it's going to be detriment to us, the fans. It's going to be depressing, even more than it is now. It's going to get really, really dark. But the only way we get out of this is if these guys go. And the only way they go is if we fall even further for a continued period of time and their financials are absolutely fucked, yeah? Because INEOS will leave. I mean, Sir Jim has already hinted that, but you can't really trust him because that interview he did was a lot of PR shit. You know, saying we don't have money was a PR stunt. It came out. That was reported. So you can't really trust them, but I think if this project and what they're doing, this partnership, fails and it doesn't lead results, they'll go, and the Glazers will be fucked, and they might go as well at some point, because you might have to get out before it gets worse. Yeah. We need full management change. We need a revolution. I told you so. We all know that, though, but you tell me like I'm the one that's going to start it, and I'm not the one that's going to start it. It's not happening. We have a small channel, and I will fully support anything, but until I see the fans that go to the grounds and the fans with the big, large fan channels and fan bases start doing something, it's pointless to really talk about. But we do need that, yeah. We do need that. Are we going to get it? No. I think it's not going to happen for another 5 years. And I'm talking about 5 years of not being in the top 6, not being in Europe. We're going to have to lose a shit ton of money because The real option is United fans boycotting the matches because that ticket revenue is what's keeping them afloat. And we know this because when COVID happened, what happened to us? We were very close to being absolutely screwed, and that actually screwed up our financials really bad because our financials are bad as it is, and if you don't have that ticket revenue, they can't operate. They can't continue the way they go. But there's listen, I'm not trying to fight with fans that go to the ground and stuff, but there's people that have season ticket holders that have had it for generations, families, etc. I get it. It's tough. I'm just stating the fact that can't happen. So we're gonna have to figure out, or not figure out, but they're gonna have to lose money a different way. Yeah, and the only way you lose money is if we're consistently shit and we're consistently outside of Europe. Because I don't think any manager out there comes in and makes this thing work. I just don't see it. I don't see it. Lyle says, spot on, Eric. Ridiculous to attack you and others for their opinions. Well, we know better. Joma says, we have created as many scoring chances, 66 this season, as Liverpool. How is that failure in the system or Amorim? Well, listen, that is a bit of maybe a bright spot in the shadow of complete darkness that we're in right now, yeah? And I do get that. And unfortunately, we need to score, yeah? But we haven't been able to score. We struggle scoring, and I've been making this argument. If we can score, things won't be so bad. We'll win more games, we'll get more points, we'll still have problems, there's still going to be issues, but it won't be so bad. But the way it's been going with him, you can't, I mean, if you give him a full season and it continues in the form that it's been, it's going to be worse than last season. And how do you do worse than last season? We said we can't do this. And the form is worrying. The fact that we can't win 2 matches back to back. The fact that we play one decently good match or we get a decently good result, and the next match we play like we've never played before. We play at home okay. We go away and our players shit themselves. I mean, it's not all on Ruben. The players take blame, but so do INEOS. Again, this thing goes all the way around the football club. It's all over the place. Fox says, surely Amorim can tweak a little bit. He can. He can. I don't think he necessarily has to change his formation, but there's a lot of things that you can do with the squads that he's picking, with the group of players that he's picking. He's changing the back line a lot. I don't know why he's doing that. I don't know why he's changing the defense, from one match to another. It doesn't make sense. It's unconventional. It's one of those unwritten rules that you don't do. You don't do that. You don't change it back. Why is he doing that? Why does he have to be so stubborn about the Bruno Fernandes thing? I get the system thing. I get the formation thing. I get it. I understand that argument. But when you tell me that you can't change personnel, when you keep playing Bruno in the midfield and it's shit, when you're taking Euro out of the lineup for who knows God what reason, when it looked like, Euro's getting his spot and he's one of our bright players next to De Ligt. I think them two are very good. We got to figure out the third one. Unfortunately, Luke Shaw is the only left-footed player. But even him, I take him out. Wingbacks are a problem. We don't have answers to that. But you know what? There's Diego Leon. We signed him. I don't know. Give him a chance. Give him an opportunity. Dorgu has nobody to replace him. Dorgu is playing every single match, regardless of if he does good or if he does shit. Delo is gonna have to do it. I mean, Diallo's there. He's an option. You could take him out, but there's problems in the squad. Lyle says Shaw, Delo, and Maguire shouldn't be starting. Maguire has been good off the bench, and I agree. I mean, these guys shouldn't be starting. I mean, you can make an argument that Bruno shouldn't be starting with the way he's performing and the way he's been playing. Cunha and Mbeumo weren't good last match. Nobody was good last match, but they weren't good last match either. I think he has to go for it. I think if it's quite obvious if he continues the way he's been going. I mean, he's done. It's done. And if that's the case, if that's the case, I mean, it's done and it's dusted. Yeah, it's over. I mean, it's only a matter of time. Whether it's next week, 2 weeks, or November 1st, because they're waiting for the money. Which also, let's talk about that real quick for a second. The money aspect thing is a disgrace. Yeah, because if you're sitting there and you're saying, yeah, we're going to have to change him, but we can't change him now because we're going to have to pay him 12 million. Well, you fucked that up. You gave him that guarantee. And then you're going to sit and wait for the next 2 to 3 matches, which may cost us points if you don't believe in him anymore as a hierarchy, and have him manage the games. Just so you can save the money that you agreed to give him, yeah. So you're gonna cost us points to save some of the money. I mean, is this not part of the problem that we have at this football club? Because a football club is gonna look at the points before the money, not the other way around. The money ain't gonna help us for next season. The money ain't going to help us this season if we finish not in Europe. Yeah, the money in Europe, getting in Europe and having a good season is way bigger than whatever the 12 million to the 6 million or the 4 million that it becomes. So this November 1st thing is, I mean, it's a disgrace. It is. Box says we've lost a number of games with the midfield 2 of Ugarte and Meno as well. We played them 90 minutes versus Brentford in May, and we were 4-1 down. Also, Euro came on at halftime, and we shipped 2 in the second half. Yeah, but what he's doing now is definitely not working. You got to try and change it. The personnel that he's picking isn't working. We lost the Europa League final with Bruno and Casemiro playing in the midfield next to each other. Why was that a decision? Not only did we lose the Europa League final, we also put in the worst performance ever. It was the most shit display ever. Why was that the decision that we were going to go with a full season of playing Bruno and Casemiro next to each other? Bruno was wrong, and also let's just say it again. They made a massive mistake. They should have sold him for the 100 million. Yeah, because what they did doesn't make sense. They have made so many mistakes along this way. They have monumentally fucked this up and derailed it. Okay? So there's a lot of things that go on Ruben for his decisions, but there's a lot of things that also come from the football club. Rajad is here. Fox says, I think it's a bigger problem than just changing personnel. Like we forgot that we've failed with the back 4 and the midfield 3. Likewise, we failed and lost many games playing whoever we start. I mean, it is. But it is it's for sure a personnel issue, 100%. 100%. Because again, this is why I'm saying, if you get rid of Ruben, whoever comes in, whoever's the manager, he's still going to have to use these players. He's still going to have to deal with them. Unless somebody can work a magic wand and get them to give a fuck, which some of them don't, I don't see what you change. Like, you know, he's still going to have Luke Shaw there. He's still going to have Maguire. He's still going to have Bruno there. He's still going to have to figure out the attack to get it to score goals. The midfield is the midfield. We only have the options we have. You play a midfield 3, we have about 1 to 2 substitutes. Now, we're playing once a week, so we should be able to manage, but the winger options were limited there. We got Mbeumo Cunha and Diallo. And then you start going outside the realm of, well, maybe you play Mason Mount as a winger, or you play Bruno as a winger if you need it, or whatever. If we start getting injuries, that's a different story. Now we have injuries. Now what do you do in terms of who you're playing where? So I just don't see a way out for this football club. I don't see it. Box says he's not sure what solutions at this stage. I don't think there is a solution. I don't think there is a solution, because I think the solution really is that what this football club really needs, which no one wants to talk about because it's quite boring, but what this football club needs is we need a 100% change of ownership, fresh, brand new, clean. We need the Glazers gone, and INEOS need to be gone, because we can't have this split ownership. It needs to be one ownership, and it's got to be brand new. But we're not going to get that. You know, we're not going to get that now. That's not going to happen now. So we're going to have to try and pretty much survive, essentially, is what they're going to do. Axe says INEOS are incompetent, always have been. I told you from the beginning, they put us in an even deeper hole, and now are reluctant to make change. Put a new head coach in now. Again, put in a new head coach now. I still think it's going to fail. I mean, if they're incompetent, Axe, what's the point of putting in a new manager, yeah? If they're incompetent, do you trust them to put in a new manager that's going to work? Why would it work? They're incompetent. I think the bigger discrepancy is, again, they're operating with one hand tied behind their back, or two hands tied behind their back. You are a minority stakeholder in a football club that you don't own the money to. They could probably put in more money into this football club. If they owned 100%, I think we would be seeing them pumping in a lot more money. And they know that they need to pump in a lot more money. But they're not going to do it. I wouldn't do it. It doesn't make sense. It literally doesn't make sense. Why would you pump in more money when you own 28% of the football club? And the people that fuck this club up and are forcing you in a position to pump in more money own 60% of the football club, and they're going to reap all the benefits and all the rewards. You wouldn't do it. You wouldn't do it. Ancelotti would probably do a great job. I don't think anybody can save this fucking group of players in our team. I don't think Ancelotti. I don't think Nagelsmann. I don't think you could get Pep. I don't think Arne Slot. I don't think Jurgen. I don't think Klopp. I don't think, even if you got Sir Alex back, I don't think he would do shit. I don't think there is a manager out there that can salvage our situation as a football club, yeah? And I think whoever we get, 1 to 2 years' time, they'll be out. Whoever's coming in next, whoever ends up taking over, I think they're done for. I don't see them fixing it. I don't see it. We don't have the money to do it, and we don't have the people with the balls. And also the managers, by the way. I mean, the manager that comes in, we need a manager that has some balls, that takes some risks. And every manager, which tells me it's not even the manager specifically their fault. The situation at the football club, how does every manager come into this football club and start managing from a scared position? How does every manager end up with favorites that they refuse to drop? They supply player power. How did they end up like throwing the youth away, not going with them? They refuse to change players that are letting them down, continue to let them down, and they keep doing it. There is a problem way bigger. It cannot be that Amorim has done it, Ten Hag has done it, Ali has done it, Mourinho has done it. How can it be that it's all on the manager and it's the manager's fault when we've had 4 to 5 different managers? They're all different. They all play a different way, a different style. They're different people. They have different upbringings. They have different backgrounds. And yet, they all end up in the same situation. It is literally impossible for it to be solely just a bad manager appointment. The football club is broken, yeah? There's no way that every manager can end up in the same situation, and it can't be solely on the football club. So, again, sack Ruben, play whatever formation you want, play a 2-1-8-7. I don't give a shit, because I know in a year or two, we're going to be back here again, and we're going to be doing this again, and that manager's going to fail, and it doesn't matter who you get. You can get a Avengers team of managers. It ain't going to work. It ain't going to work. All right? But, I'm tired of this shit. This has failed monumentally. He's going to be gone. And the next guy's the same shit's going to happen, yeah? Fox says, I would back Southgate if he's the manager. You got to back. I'm not backing that. There's just no way. There's just no way. Listen, I will back whoever they get, but him, I cannot back him. For me, Box, I get it. I understand. You're trying to be a good fan, and you love the football club, and I understand where you're coming from, but I can't back that. To me, the appointment of Gareth Southgate is the final nail in the coffin for this football club. To me, the appointment of Gareth Southgate, we should hold a funeral because our club is really dead. And some people say it's been dead and it's already dead. But for me, that's the end. For me, that's it. I'm going to be honest with you. I love this football club. I hate what it's become. And if they do that, I don't even know if I can watch that because I couldn't watch England. And I watch England all the time. And when they play international, I couldn't watch it. I couldn't stand it. I can't stand his face. I can't stand his football tactics. He's a shit manager. Why has nobody offered him a job? If we do that, then we deserve everything that's going to come to us. We'll get some more points. We'll be all right. But it's not going to lead to anything. He's not going to win us anything. He's a bottler. He hasn't won anything. He's not at the stature that we need. He's not at the stature that we need. So, Rajat says, and bro, my main team lost 5-2, to be honest. I saw that. I was thinking of you when I saw that they lost to Atletico Madrid 5-2. Was that the first loss of the season that they took? Andresito says, do you think this squad instead of players is a 15-position squad? Last year we made excuses for him. These players aren't his players. We're currently in 14th and it's not looking better in my opinion. But the thing is, and these aren't excuses, yeah? The thing is, the majority of the squad that we have now is still the same squad from last year. All we added was Cunha, Sesko, and Buemo, and a goalkeeper that hasn't played yet, yeah? So, what do we have? A team of 22? So, like, 4 or 5 players out of the 22, it's still all the same. This is what I'm saying. So, even if it's, let's just say, for shits and giggles, let's just say that, these aren't his players, and they're not good enough. The majority are still here. They still make up the majority of the squad. So what's really going to change? Do I think that they're like 15th position squad or 14th? No, they should be probably higher. And maybe we could get there. With some different tactics or a different manager or whatever. I think you can't say that it's pointless in terms of if you sack him because we're going to be 15th, that the next manager is going to be 15th. I'm just saying that it's not going to go to a place where we need it to go in terms of there's not going to be any real sustainability, and it's just going to fail like everything else. Whether it's a year, 2 years, or 3 years, it will collapse because we just can't manage to do what we actually need to do with this football club. So if we were playing well, Anfield would have been a very good game and a perfect opportunity to get a win there. Liverpool looked shaky. Well, we look even more shaky. So, I mean, I don't know what they're going to do. Fox says we should play a midfield 3. That's fine. We could play a midfield 3. Let's play a midfield 4. I don't think... I don't think it'll lead to what the fans want. Chad said, oh, not Chad. Sorry, I thought you were Chad. You guys same logo, same color. Chiquinya Otora says we should get Carrick or Rude as interim. We should take our time before hiring a new long-term manager. Now, I do think that, if and when he gets sacked, yeah, there's some managers out there I would definitely not like to see. I'll back them if they choose it. Gareth Southgate's out of the question. He's not allowed in any shape or form. I think there's some other managers that, and I think I was thinking about Carrick or so, and I was like, you know what? If if there's a guy out there that we can't really get, like for example, if they want to go with Glasner, although I think Glasner, I don't know how much the fans would like him because the results are good, yeah, for Glasner, but the way he plays, I mean, they literally have 30% possession like every match, and I don't know if United fans, they're gonna hate it. They're gonna hate it. I mean, they're not gonna like the football. And if you don't like the football, all it takes is a little bit of bad results, and they're turning on the manager. Yeah, so maybe I think you could get an interim like Carrick or something like that to stabilize the rest of the season, and go from there. If Carrick does well, maybe you give him the job, or maybe you look for somebody else, and take our time. Like Chiquinha is saying, Rajat says Man United has a mentality problem. We clearly, obviously do. We've always had a mentality problem. And how do you fix that? I don't know if a manager can fix that. I know the manager has a responsibility to sort of deal with that stuff, but the club massively our size and the problems that we've had over 13 years, I don't know if a manager can fix it at this point. I don't think it's a normal situation of things are stable and things are running well, and you just need a guy to come in to fix the mentality of the squad itself. I think there's a mentality issue throughout the whole club. So Chiquinha says Rude played 4-2-3-1 with Casemiro and Ugarte in the midfield and won most games. When you can play in the left and Bruno as a 10. Well, the thing is also, I mean, I would like to see what happens because I think whoever comes in, they'll probably get a bounce. These players will try again like they always do. Somebody comes in, it's a fresh start. They got to try. They got to earn their spot. They can't sack the manager at that point because, I mean, they just came in. Also depends, like if it's Rude, I mean, he's a legend of the club. They'll probably feel less likely to try and disrespect him. If it's Carrick, legend of the club, they'll feel less likely to disrespect him or something like that. But I don't know, over a longer course of period of time, how does that go? Because we've seen many of the managers have a decently good first season, and the second season they get found out and they get destroyed and results go bad and they lose their job. And that happens quite a lot, especially in the Premier League. So I just, in terms of a long-term succession type of thing, in the short term, it might work. In the long term, I just don't see how we get to where we got to go because we're going backwards. Andresito says, I'm not a huge fan of Bruno, but we have to stop shitting on him. He doesn't tell the coach I'm playing as 6, not at 10. I don't get that from our fan base. Well, we're not blaming him for playing in the midfield. We're blaming Ruben for playing on the midfield. But when you play like shit, you play like shit. And also, he, as a captain, I'm sorry, but he doesn't take the responsibility that he should be taking. For me, I've protected him, but I think he crossed the line with me when he threw Euro under the bus. You don't do that as the captain. Also, he does it on the pitch quite a lot. I don't care if he throws his arms up in the air, but when somebody passes you the ball and you fail to trap it because you fucked up, and you start yelling at the guy because he passed you the ball and making it his fault instead of, accepting that you fucked up, that's not a proper captain. Yeah, that's not a proper captain. That is a problem that leads to the mentality issue. You don't do those things as a captain of the football club. And you know what? There's a lot of ground to make an argument that since he's become the captain, well, we've gone down. Yeah, so it could be something that is playing a hand in it as well. But I don't. Again, I refuse to be one of these people that says it's just Bruno or it's just Ruben. There are many problems, and I think anybody that believes just changing the manager or just getting rid of Bruno Fernandes is naive, and they're living in La La Land. And when that shit doesn't work out, they're just going to go and target one other specific person like they keep doing. Because they've been doing this. If it's not Rashford specifically, and they think all the problems in the world are solved, then, rainbows are going to shine on top of Old Trafford again. And the sun's going to come out because we got rid of one person while the rest of the shit is still there. then I don't know what to tell these people really, because when are they going to wake up and smell the coffee? That there are, I don't know how many exactly, right? I'm exaggerating here, but there's about 52 different problems, yeah? If you take one problem out of the 52, we still have 51 problems. You think that's going to change anything when we're sitting on 51 other problems at the football club? Rajat says, can't have Bruno as right wing. He's more than 10. He's more 10 than wing. He can play wing if we play him there, but he doesn't have the... He can't. But that's the point that I'm making. It's not suited. Yeah, we're limited in the options we have. So I don't know. They got to go. And they got to fix it. They got to fix it. It's on them. Chiquinha says, we have players that can win us games. With the proper manager and system, we have bowlers like Sesko, Ahmad, Cunha, Sesko, Cunha, Ahmad, Xerxes, Menu. Again, to me, and I appreciate it, but to me, you named 5 players out of a squad of 22. You named we have 5 bowlers out of a squad of 22. So what are we doing with the rest of them? Because this is a team sport. And 5 players aren't going to save us. 5 players aren't going to lead us to the promised land. 5 players are not going to get the job done in the Premier League when we're facing well-built, well-running squads, teams, actual teams, real teams. To me, you make that list, those are 5 individuals in a group of 22 individuals. So I don't see how somebody mends that on their own. I don't see it. Also, there's nothing they can do. I mean, the manager comes in, they're going to have to do whatever they can do with this group of players. They don't have a transfer window. And honestly, it could very well just be the grass isn't always greener. I mean, if they appoint Southgate, I'd rather just watch Ruben fucking lose every week. Honestly. But if they hire a new manager, there's no guarantee that it goes well. There's no guarantee that there's a bounce. We would hope there is one, but there's no guarantee we get one. There's no guarantee that it'll be decently well. And I'm not saying that means don't do anything. I'm just saying don't think that just because the change comes, we are saved. We are still going to be in big trouble. We are still going to be fighting an absolutely uphill battle. And the manager is still going to have a shit ton of problems that he's going to have to solve. Now, the only thing is they're going to be playing less games during the week. Yeah, so they should have more training time on more time on the training pitch. So maybe they'll be able to solve and sort out some of the problems and issues that are in our squad, and it won't be necessarily like last season. But listen, it could very well go like last season. We sack this guy, we get somebody else in, and results are still mediocre to poor to shit. Cunha has 0 goals, 0 assists in 10 games, including preseason. Says Box, that's like Garnacho stats. Well, again, it is a big problem. I mean, we can't score. We can't score. You know, we can't win if we can't score. I don't know. I keep saying it, and I know it's a simple saying, and you know, but it just is like, if we can't score, you know, how is this guy going to get points? How are we going to get results? It is in a bad spot. X says, yeah, the problem is way deeper. Still, Amorim will obviously solve nothing. Let us try manager roulette. I mean, I don't think. The thing is, we don't really have money for manager roulette. Yeah, that's another problem. Like, we can't do what Chelsea does or did. We can't really do that. We can't really afford it. And obviously, if a manager is taking a job, they want certain guarantees. So if we don't give them certain guarantees, then we can't get certain managers because they're not going to want to take the job. So, like Bach says, it costs too much money. It does. And this is what I'm saying. Our situation is special. And not in a good way. It's special in that we're specially fucked. Yeah? Because there's a lot of things that we can't do. We are limited in the way we can operate, the way we can move. And what we need, we all know what we need. We all know what we need. We need brand new owners that have the money that are going to spend, that want to win, that are going to get rid and gut the entire thing and start 100% fresh. And if they did that, we would be able to do manager roulette because it wouldn't matter, right? I mean, Liverpool got new owners at some point. Arsenal had a change in the ownership. I mean, the son took over and he's way better than the father and they're doing better things. Chelsea got new owners. Newcastle got new owners. And a couple other clubs got new owners. And they get new owners, a lot of things change at the football club and their fortune change. We didn't really get new owners. I don't consider INEOS actual owners. They're just here. And I was hoping that maybe somehow we get lucky for once in our lives and that we can kind of get away with them here because that's the only situation that we're in. Yeah. But I just don't see it happening. I don't. The more managers that fail here, the quicker the Glazers will sell. I don't know about that. I don't trust them to do that. I would advise you in your spare time, Axe, to go look into the background and the history of the Glazers in full. Yeah? And understand the way that they do business and understand the type of people that they are and like actuality. And through their business dealings and their family history, I don't actually trust them. Now, I think there's hope that it could be, but I'm not sold on that because when you are the people that they are, they're not selling on a high. They didn't want to sell on a high. They are on a high right now. The club is valued at 5.5 billion. They wanted 10. I don't know what means they have to be able to survive, yeah? Because we don't know everything. And I just don't trust them. I think they will do whatever they can to stay at this football club, even if they are losing money, even if it is sinking or it is fucked. I think they will drag us down into the depths of the deepest of depths and take us down with them. I don't actually trust them, but I think there is a glimmer of hope that and a possibility, but I don't know what percentage to put that on. I actually probably think it's quite low, maybe a 20% chance that if we fail and we're out of Europe and we're losing money and, things are quite dark, a lot darker than they are now, then maybe they sell. But why would you sell? Unless they get an offer for good money. But if we're going very, very backwards and the club value starts going down, I think they'll be really resentful to sell it when they had an offer of 5.5 billion and they didn't take it, and now they're only getting offered 3 to 4 billion or less. I think the situation for them would have to be that 5.5 billion or higher. And in that situation, I think if somebody came in and tried to offer lower, I don't think they would do. I think they would start pulling out all the stops and tricks. It'd be like Barcelona kind of. They'd be doing their own versions of pulling levers and doing all types of weird shit to try and stay. And, it's just going to make it more into a mess. Yeah, I wouldn't take Poch. I'm going to talk about a couple candidates. Yeah, I wouldn't take Poch. I think Poch is washed, and I think Poch is... I don't think... we missed the boat on Poch. I think Poch is washed. I don't think Poch would do well here either. Put someone in who understands our DNA. Let's wait until the end of the World Cup, analyze the market, and decide on a compatible manager. And that sounds very good, Axe, but I'm just, again, and I get it, you're giving your opinion on what you would do. But if we go to reality, you think INEOS are incompetent and they're bad. So do you trust them to do that? Do you think that's going to happen? Because that's the point I'm trying to get across. Amorim is a bad manager and he sucks and he needs to go. Fine. But what says and who says whoever comes in is going to do better? If these guys are incompetent and they're shit at their job, I don't trust them. So so at the end of the day, we're just going to fail either way then, yeah? if Ruben's here, and this is what I'm trying to say, the conversation has to be more about the situation as a whole and not just, there's too many people that are just like, Ruben goes and we get somebody else in. Everything's golden. They said the same thing about Ten Hag. They said Ten Hag goes, our problems are solved. Our problems were not solved, and then our problems got bigger because we made a big change that we can't actually fund. Brajat says Poch can cook. Nah, I don't think so. I don't think so. Hold on. All right, let's switch gears real quick, yeah? Well, we're not really switching gears, but we're going to the next updates. I want to get through these updates. We'll get back to the conversation, yeah? Because there's a lot more information, and there's a lot more stuff that we need to talk about. So obviously, we just mentioned Gareth Southgate, yeah? So there's a lot on this, so just bear with me. Gareth Southgate, and this is from Alex Crook and Ben Jacobs. Gareth Southgate is an option for Manchester United if they decide to sack Ruben Amorim. United minority owner Sir Jim Ratcliffe has been in direct contact with Southgate in recent weeks. Following that up, Gareth Southgate was considered when United hired under pressure Amorim last year, but he didn't want to return to club management at the time. So that update bothers the shit out of me because they were looking to get him. I mean, Dan Ashworth was still here. Yeah. So there's still a hope for me that this was all through Dan Ashworth. And I think Dan Ashworth is gone. So hopefully they're not looking at Gareth Southgate. But I mean, that to me reads, if he wanted to go back to the job, we would have got him instead of Amorim, which, my opinion, would still be a shit show. Either way. But Fabrizio gave us a very lengthy sort of update and talked about Southgate. And he said, many of you mentioned to me about Gareth Southgate. Many of you keep asking me if he can be an option. There are many rumors. Gareth Southgate has always been in the rumors, if you remember, even in summer 24 when United decided to keep Ten Hag. And before they appointed Eric Ten Hag, they had some candidates. Among these candidates, there was De Zerbi, who has always been very much appreciated by the people at United, before they decided to continue with Ten Hag. Another name was Gareth Southgate. Why Southgate? Because he's a very good relationship with people close to INEOS and with influential people in INEOS, and because he's well known by those people, and this is why the link is always around. There's still no active talks or conversations for Southgate to become the new Manchester United manager, but if we have these stories, it's because of the good relationship with INEOS. This scares the shit out of me. Because, again, I don't care if you think Ruben's a good manager. He needs more time. He's shit and he needs to be sacked. This being an option, this being a reality, pisses me off. And this scares the shit out of me. Because I think this would be if they go with this guy, it's going to be a monumental disaster. And there is no way that I can back this. There is no way. There is no way. I don't even know if I can watch the matches. I'm going to be quite honest with you. Like, yeah, right now, we're struggling to win a game every week, and it's bad. But this is going to be a monumental shit show. He cannot handle this football club. He cannot handle the pressure. He is not a good manager in any type of way. His football is shit. This will sink us. This will kill us once and for all. So if they do this, well, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you guys anymore. And I'm being dead serious. This will destroy us. Box, Southgate might have not won us the league. Southgate's not going to fucking win anything. He is not good. He is one of the worst managers I've ever seen manage ever in any type of thing. And he definitely cannot cook. He can cook himself. He can't even cook himself a fucking bowl of ramen noodles. Yeah, instant ramen. He can't even do that. Yeah, he's absolutely trash. Allow the players to play in their favorable positions, and we will reach the top 8, and we restart from next season. No, I mean, I don't agree with that. That's sort of like player power, isn't it? We should be playing them in the positions that they're best at. I don't know if that's what you mean. I don't want players playing in the position that they want to play. They play in the positions that is best for the squad and best for the team. And if they have a fucking problem with it, they can fuck off and leave. So if you mean the latter, then sure, yeah, why not? If you mean let's go to each player and be like, where would you like to play? And then they tell you, and they're like, well, I don't really want to play left wing because I'd rather play on the right wing. Then you could fuck off. And they could fuck right off. They don't need to be here. But last thing from Rob Dawson, ESPN. Manchester United sources have insisted the club are not currently looking for replacements for Amorim and had denied speculation that co-owner Sir Jim Ratcliffe has already met Gareth Southgate. The former England boss was under consideration as a possible replacement for Erik ten Hag before Amorim's appointment. The United hierarchy are keen to give Amorim as much time as possible to turn things around. There is, however, an acceptance that results will have to improve quickly if they are going to meet their preseason target of qualifying for Europe. And that's where we find ourselves. That's why it probably isn't going to happen for, a next few weeks. But I think everybody's pretty much set on the fact that if he doesn't try and make any type of changes, I mean, for some people, it's the formation and the system. I don't think you're going to get that much out of him. I would plead with him to make personnel changes in the squad and stop playing fucking Bruno in the midfield and stop changing the back defensive line. Take Binder out of goal. I mean, if he starts doing those, I'll get a bit of encouragement because maybe something can happen out of that. If he continues on the way he's continuing, there's just no way that it clicks because there's no signs that it's going to click. It's the same shit over and over again. The same things keep happening, and that's because he keeps doing the same thing. So if he starts taking some gambles and making some changes to the squad that he's currently fielding, I'll have a bit of encouragement that maybe some shit changes. Maybe, because you're changing things and things can then change. But if he continues the way he's going, you're changing nothing, which means nothing is going to change, yeah? So results aren't going to change, performances aren't going to change, and it's only going to get worse. Because each time we lose, he's losing more of the players, he's losing more of the trust, the players are becoming less confident, and it's making everything worse. So on top of that, Ben Jacobs, Alex Crook, other potential replacements if Amorim is sacked include Crystal Palace boss Oliver Glasner and Bournemouth's Adoni Iriola. Well, I'm going to talk about them a little bit in depth, yeah? But let's get to, and many people have talked about, Glasner and stuff like that coming in, and Iriola, they want to see that, but let's get to the main guy, Xavi, yeah? Because many people want Xavi, and now Xavi is fan favorite from all the United fans out there. So, Xavi has been without a job since leaving Barca in May 2024, and the Catalan outlet say that he has ruled out moving to Saudi Arabia. Axe brought that up before. Sources informed them he's not keen at all. Prior to taking the Barcelona job in 2021, the 45-year-old Spaniard managed Qatari side Al Sadd for 2 years. Mundo report he doesn't want a Middle East job and is instead looking for a top-level club. Fabrizio Romano reported over the weekend that Xavi would be interested in Manchester United opportunity if presented to him. That appears to be the job he's most keen on, with other sources reporting similar in recent years. Now, here's Fabrizio talking about Xavi, saying Al Ittihad are looking for a new manager, and they decided to fire Laurent Blanc. They won the league last season, and the controlling people at Ittihad decided to fire the manager after they lost against Al Nassr. Xavi is being considered for Al Ittihad manager internally. Still nothing advanced at this point, but he's one of the names. And then he went on to say, I can guarantee to you on Xavi, as I also get many questions on Xavi and Manchester United. Xavi is studying the Premier League and monitoring it, and Xavi would go immediately to Man United, even without European football. He would go immediately to the Premier League, so he would love a Premier League opportunity, but at the moment, again, nothing at all. So I mean, the people that want the new guy, he's a very viable option. I mean, he's available. He wants the Premier League. He really wants Manchester United. He's been out of a job. He's studying the Premier League. He'll come to us without European football. He plays the 4-3-3 that everybody wants and everybody's asking for. Why he's got to be, for me, he's probably, I mean, I don't know from an INEOS standpoint, yeah, but in terms of what's available and what we could probably get, he's probably number one. I mean, I don't think you get a perfect candidate. He's not in a job. He plays the formation that everybody's asking for and playing three midfield. He wants to come to us. He wants to be in the Premier League. He's taking time to study the Premier League. And it doesn't matter if we have European football or not. And if we offered it to him right now, he would be here tomorrow. So I don't think there's probably a better candidate in terms of... It's probably the easiest. It'll probably be the quickest. It'll probably be the fastest. And then, you could argue compatibility with the squad and the way he plays. So, yeah, Lucky says, Ruben under stress, Aiden having Mateus de Ligt. I don't know what that means. The back line, for me, at this moment in time, I think if he wants to stand a chance, you play Yori, you play de Ligt, and you play Aiden Heaven. You tell Luke Shaw to fuck off. Maguire can be on the bench and come on as a sub. He shouldn't be starting matches. He doesn't need to be starting matches. He's been all right as a sub. He's been all right as somebody that we can use in different situations, but there's no future in him. I don't know why he's starting. He's not going to be around for much longer. If we even give him a contract to stay, it's still only another 2 years or so. Heaven is on the bench. He's a kid. And this is what I'm saying. You don't have to go all full scorched earth with kids, but get Heaven in there. Give Leon some minutes when Dorgu is playing like shit, because he doesn't have a sub for him. It does, there's no competition for him. Get Bruno out of the midfield. Sort that out. There's about 5, 6, 7 different things he can do with just the personnel alone. And you try it. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. And, it's failed. Either way, it's going to fail then. Yeah? Because he's made this statement of, I will change it when I feel like it, in terms of when he talks about the system and the formation. Now, when he says that, I think we all know that means that he's not going to change it, and he will just... He's not going to feel like he's going to change it, so he's going to get sacked. And then he won't be able to change it because he won't be the manager. So, Lucky says if Ruben doesn't put new players in, he will get himself sacked. Yeah, that's exactly what's happening. He is getting himself sacked. That's exactly what he's doing. Gray says Southgate in. Yeah, no. You guys could have fun with Gareth Southgate. I won't be doing that. I won't be doing that. One of the updates. Well, before we get to that, let me just talk a little bit more about Xavi and some of the other managers, yeah? So, hey, I have a whole thing written. So, for the manager, since we need to talk about the manager, yeah? Let's talk about sort of an ideal manager without naming any names. They need to have a clear, modern footballing identity. One rooted in being proactive. We got to press. We got to have transitions. Control the possession. They got to be flexible. And they got to be adaptive. They need to be excellent in man management and cultural change. Because we have problems with individuals and mentality. So we have internal dysfunction. We have poor mentality, a lack of alignment in the football club. The manager has to be able to command respect, instill discipline, but has to have empathy with these players because obviously you can't go full Roy Keane on them in today's age. They won't respond to that, yeah? They'll turn their back on you. So there's got to be a guy that there's got to be, I guess you would call it similar to Fergie. Hardliner type of guy. Will give you the hairdryer, but also in situations can put an arm around your shoulder. Yeah, that's just the general. I mean, it's a general thing that people say for a fit for a manager. In my belief as well, they got to have experience in high pressure environments and have been around some top European competitions. Um, they got to be tested in Europe and whatever domestic cups they were in, derbies, and intense sort of, high pressure jobs. I mean, Xavi kind of fits that. He was at Barca. He was a Barca player. Barca's a very big club. He knows about pressure. They're also were in the Champions League, Europa League, European games, playing derbies against Real Madrid. So they got to have that. They have to be good at integrating the youth, plus being able to sort of, they got to blend young players with some of the bigger players, and they also have to have some sort of ability in terms of rebuilding teams or building teams. And then finally, they got to be able to be working and be on the same page with our sporting director and our upper management. Now, for Fonzie's, Zidane, I think, could be one in terms of he's proven winner in the Champions League. Sure, he had the God Squad, but he's won 3. It's Zinedine Zidane. He's got a big reputation. He's got a big name. I think if Zidane walked into the football club, the players, or you would at least hope, that the players would respect him because it's a living legend in Zinedine Zidane. He has big match experience, tremendous reputation. But he's been missing out of the game since he won those 3. And also, I just don't think Zidane can happen. I don't think it's a possibility, and I don't think it's ever going to happen. He doesn't want to go to England. He wants nothing to do with English football. And also, I don't think he fancies the challenge and job at Manchester United. So I think Zidane could maybe work in terms of man management and being sort of this big name. I think there's some question marks in terms of if and when he does come back and he goes to a club without all those superstars and sort of that ready-made team, how good of a manager will he actually be? But from a man management sort of side, to get respect out of the players and have them listen and believe in him, I think he fits that. I think he does. And then I think there's Xavi. I think there's Julian Nagelsmann is young and he doesn't fit a lot of those bills, but he's had some big jobs at some big clubs. I quite like his football, but he's in Germany, and I don't think we can necessarily get that either. Now, one that people are talking about right now would be Oliver Glasner, because he has sort of like a mid-high press, and he plays a 3-4-2-1. Sometimes it's a 3-2-2-3. That the shape morphs when they're on the pitch. He won the FA Cup, but he's not really what I just said, right? He's not really all those things that I mentioned before. But in terms of if you're going to get somebody that is going to be kind of a transition from Ruben that plays similar, which will have different ideas and will do different things with the group and stuff like that, and there'll be a little less of an extreme change, you could go with him. Ariola, he plays aggressive pressing transitions. But his is a 4-4-2, 4-2-2-2. You could put Cunha and Mbeumo on the wings. Sesko as the striker. But it's a bit... If we get back into European football, there's a problem with the pressing that he does, because it's quite high, and you'd have to be doing it 3 days a week. I don't know if we have the players for that. Also, yeah, I mean, Nagelsmann for me, he'll probably do that. So I don't know if anybody wants De Zerbi. I don't even know how he's doing. But De Zerbi was one, plays a 4-2-3-1, 4-2-3. Nagelsmann, same thing, plays a 4-2-3-1 or a 3-4-2-1. You know, people going at Ruben for not being flexible. Nagelsmann is quite flexible. He's not welded. He's not wedded to a single system. He adapts to the shape of his players' strengths. So, you know, he could do that. Who else? I mean, Carrick, what he was doing at Middlesbrough. Um, he was playing a 4-2-3-1 or a 4-4-2 diamond. Possession-based attacking football with quick transitions. Legend of the football club, understands what Manchester United is supposed to be, what it was. You could go maybe that route. I wouldn't go near Poch, but he is one that maybe could work. I would very much like if we got Nagelsmann. I think he's a good man. I like the guy very much. I don't think we'll get him. I don't think it'll happen. I think probably our best... I think probably what we're looking at is either Xavi or Gareth Southgate, God forbid. God forbid. We will probably still lose. We probably will, but again, I think if you don't change, you're gonna lose anyway. So you might as well go down trying, yeah? You might as well go down trying in terms of, I don't know, give us something to be encouraged about the next couple weeks. Show us that you're willing to change at least something. Like, again, it's like a compromise. I would ask him, I'd be like, I don't want you to change your formation. I don't want you to change the system. But if you're being so stubborn as to the fact of that you refuse to move Bruno out of there, you refuse to try a different midfield, you refuse to settle on a defensive line, you keep changing that. I don't know why he's doing that. You keep choosing to play Biender. You know, he's not helping himself, is he? He's just sacking himself. He's making it worse. He's making it worse. So, Avram Grant, no. Chad says I would get Xavi and Blanc. Blanc is a scout. Well, I don't think we're getting Blanc as a scout. I don't think we're getting any scouts. Xavi, I can see and I understand. I would hope if it happens, I hope it goes well. Yeah, I really do. I hope I'm entirely wrong. I hope that it's always the formation and the system. I hope Xavi comes in and he's absolutely brilliant and he sets us up in a way and he gets us playing football in a way that will be competitive and we'll be able to build on it. I hope so. I really do. I just don't feel any hope. I don't feel any hope for it. I don't feel like it will actually transpire anymore. I don't. This football club has killed all my hope because I just feel like we have done everything. We have gone in every which angle and every which way, and no matter what we do, it just fails. And every manager ends up getting the brunt of all the blame, and they get sacked, and we get the next guy, and it happens to them again. And the only thing that we never actually change on a big enough scale is the owners, the people in charge, and the players. And maybe we're working on the players, but that's going to take time. And if, you know, one of the things that they got to do, yeah, is whatever they plan to do going forward from now on, the guy that comes in, they need to set some sort of a, not a foundation, but they got to somehow instill to the fans that the guy that comes in is going to need time. Because the fans have lost the plot with this. Nobody's getting... And I understand the results are really bad and the record is really bad for Ruben. I get it. But somebody somehow is gonna have to have time, because we can't fix this in 2 seasons, 3 seasons, because we've never fixed it in 2, 3 seasons. And sometimes in 2, 3 seasons it gets worse instead of getting better. So at some point we need to stop decapitating the manager and let the manager rock, and start decapitating. I don't even know if I could say that on YouTube without getting banned, but metaphorically, we got to start going at everything else. Axe is out of here. It says ideal manager, flexible and good at motivating players. Start building based on players' strengths and transition to adaptive playing system in the EPL. Avram Grant, 7-year-old Avram Grant. I mean, is he even fucking managing anymore? Lucky says, Eric, if I was manager, Manchester United pressure job, yes, but I would make 3 changes with players that want to play for me. Well, yeah, that's the thing. That's one of the biggest arguments, is that, you know, he keeps putting out these experienced players that you can make an argument that they aren't playing for him. In terms of, you can say they're downing tools on purpose, or you could just say simply they're not getting the job done. And if they're not getting the job done for you, you should be getting replaced. And actually, he should be doing himself a favor and replacing them, because he's in control of that and he can do that. And the fact that he doesn't do that, and he's literally doing what Ten Hag did. And again, at the end, I said Ten Hag had to go. And I think for Ruben, a couple more results, he's going to have to go. You know what I mean? I mean, the record for himself is already bad. But in terms of this Premier League season, I mean, if we lose to Sunderland, I don't think we won't win against Liverpool. We got to play Brighton after that. You're talking about the next 3 to 4 matches, we might not get a single point. You'll have to go. There's no, you can't protect, there's nothing to really say anymore after that. You have to go. And with Ten Hag, I think he did a similar thing. I don't think he helped himself, because he was very stubborn and refused to drop certain players. And Ruben is doing the same thing. He's doing the same thing. You don't have to change your tactics, your formation, whatever. But if you can't admit that your captain isn't doing the fucking job for you in the position that you're putting him in, you're not helping yourself. If you can't admit that the goalkeeper isn't doing a good job, and you got another one, and you refuse to put him in, you're not helping yourself. If you're changing your back line from week to week, for who knows what reason, whether he doesn't trust him, I don't know what he's doing back there. But, I mean, if you can't decide on a starting backline that says, this is my number 1 backline, and they're going to start week in, week out, unless somebody is monumentally, disastrously shit in a match, you're not helping yourself. Ten Hag did the same thing. Kept playing Rashford. Kept playing Anthony. Not giving Diallo chances. Putting Mazzawari as a fucking 10. For who knows what reason, when he could have used somebody else. Not taking certain players out. Not giving other players chances and giving them minutes when the guys on the pitch are failing you week in, week out. When the players on the pitch are not trying. They're not moving. They're not running. There's no intensity. There's no aggression. They're on the pitch half-assing it, going through the motions. And you keep picking them. And you keep playing them week to week. And you can't give the guy that's rocking the bench 30 solid minutes to see what he could do. You can't give him an opportunity to start. And then you get sacked. I mean, there's no sympathy anymore for that. So, Lucky says, I want Michael Carrick take over Premier League experience. And play a 4-2-2-1. Chad says Carrick as Xavi assistant, Blanc as defensive coach. I mean, that's not going to happen either. Why would you do that? Why would Xavi want Michael Carrick as his assistant? Xavi is going to bring... Xavi's going to bring his own guy. And I wouldn't want a situation where we're bringing in Xavi as a manager and we're telling him you can't have your own assistant coach. You got to have Michael Carrick. Now, if Xavi wants Michael Carrick, different story. But there's no reason for Xavi wanting Michael Carrick. They don't work together. Michael Carrick was just a manager. I mean, maybe he would take the assistant job because he loves United. Maybe he wouldn't because maybe he wants to continue his managing career. And maybe he doesn't want to be an assistant. But I think that would be ridiculous to do, Chad. Why would you... I mean, we're doing fantasy things here, yeah? That's a total fantasy that's never going to happen. Carrick's not going to be Xavi's assistant. We're not getting Blanc as a defensive coach. It's not happening. I don't know who our defensive coach is, but, I mean, Blanc's not coming. And if Carrick comes, it's Carrick as manager. Xavi can get us Frankie if we need Frankie. Can we even get Frankie? Can we afford him? I don't know. Does he even want to come to us? I mean, if we're not in the Champions League, I don't think Frankie wants to come. I don't see how Xavi gets us Frankie. The only way Xavi gets us Frankie is if Xavi gets us into the Champions League. Probably. Most likely. Guy says, I truly think that Harry Maguire is trying his best, but his best just ain't good enough. I think he is too, but again, when we talk about Harry Maguire, there's not a single person in this community, and I have never spoken the words and said that Harry Maguire should be starting. I've never said that. Nobody in here that's tried to that likes Harry Maguire or thinks he's a decent player. Not one person has ever said Harry Maguire should be starting. Nobody wants Harry Maguire to be starting. I don't think he should be starting. If he's on the bench and he's a squad player, I don't have a problem with the guy. But he shouldn't be starting matches. And we have other players that should be starting matches. And there's no future in him. I would love nothing more than to see a back line of Euro, De Ligt, and Heaven, or Euro, De Ligt, and Martinez, or Heaven, De Ligt, and Martinez. When Martinez comes back, if he comes back, because I don't know what the hell is going on with Martinez. He was supposed to be back by now, but he's not. But yeah, I mean, I would be going with that back defensive line every day of the week, forever. And if Euro isn't playing well or he fucks up, then I put in Heaven, for him and have them battle it out. Yeah, they're both young kids. They both have bright futures. They have a lot to do in terms of the development. They're hungrier. They have a point to prove. Let them duke it out with each other for a spot. There's no, if we need to give somebody a rest, there's Maguire, and you can sub him in. If we're winning a match and we're up 3-0 or something like that, and you need to sub off a defender and give somebody 30 minutes rest, put on Maguire. But otherwise, the same way Ruben treats Mano is the same way Sancho got treated. To a certain extent, maybe. To a certain extent, maybe so. But I'll tell you what, Mano's not a jackass and didn't do what Sancho did. So that's why Mano is still around and Mano is still getting opportunities. And that's why Sancho didn't get opportunities and was kicked out of the club. Yeah? So there's a way to handle that. And that's why he doesn't have my respect. Because he didn't handle it well. So there's a way to handle situations. Life is very unfair. People are unfair. People are dickheads. People are assholes, especially if they're your boss. Especially if they're in charge of you. Nobody is saying that that's not a thing. But it's about how you respond. It's about how you carry yourself. It's about your mental state and your head. And walking around thinking you have the biggest balls on the planet and you're like Cristiano Ronaldo when you're fucking not. And then acting like it. And thinking that you can go and do that sort of statement against the manager, whether he was lying or not, whether he was right or wrong. That's not how you carry yourself as a player. Now, Manu hasn't done any of that. So he's still there. He still has an opportunity, and he's doing the right thing. And he should continue to do the right thing. And that's why I have utmost respect for the kid. Because he handles himself with class. unlike some other players. I mean, even Cristiano Ronaldo, I'll tell you that for as much as that, I didn't like that at all. Like, I know it's Ronaldo, and Ronaldo can kind of do what Ronaldo wants, but I didn't respect that. I didn't respect he did that fucking interview with Piers Morgan. I was very disappointed in him because I understood the situation. I get it, but I didn't. I thought it was very disrespectful. I didn't like him taking shots at the manager. I thought it was very unprofessional. And a lot of the shit he said, some of the shit he said was true, but a lot of the shit he said was, I mean, some of it was bullshit. Talking about going to the Saudi league because it's very high quality. I mean, no, it's fucking not. No, it's not. Don't listen. If you want to go, go ahead, go do it. Don't give us shit about how the Saudi league is so good in quality. It's not. It's fucking shit. The only reason why people go there is because they get ridiculous amounts of money. They give him ridiculous amounts of money. If you wanted to leave because United is shit and it's run like shit and the manager, you disagree with him and he's an asshole and whatever, fine. That's fine. I have no problem with that. And you can go. Because at the end of the day, if you don't want to be there, I don't want you there. I don't ever want a footballer that doesn't want to be at the football club. So you can go. But I didn't like how he handled that either. I think that was it disappointed me because I was like, you know what? You've always held yourself as a leader. And I felt like that just wasn't very leaderish to do. So I lost respect. I lost some respect for Ronaldo in that case, but also Ronaldo did a lot for our football club, whereas the other Pratt didn't do shit for us. He has no money in the bank. He never did. Shouldn't be in this squad. What you're talking about starting, because he's here and he's starting matches. And he shouldn't be starting matches. I'm talking about our current situation. That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about our current. He is here. If we sack Ruben, he's still going to be here. And he's still an option. And as an option, he shouldn't be starting matches. And we're going to have to use him. But if we're going to use him as a sub. You know what I mean? Use him as a sub. Use him as a sub. People say Sancho and Rashford attitudes, but the manager seems to be stubborn. Maybe he was the one with the bad attitude. Well, he certainly is stubborn. I don't think that's up for debate. He's certainly 100% stubborn and set in his ways. He's clear like that. So, Lars says CR7 is a legend. I clocked out on CR7 when he said he wants to play Champions League and not Europa, and then signed for Al Nassr. I burst out. Well, that was the thing, La. That was the bullshit that ultimately it disappointed me. That's what that was. You know what I mean? It ultimately, because I was like, listen, I get it. Glazers are shit. Nothing changed at the club. I respected it to that level. I wanted him to call out the owners because I think they're a problem. But he went at the manager. I thought that was highly unprofessional and disrespectful for that, even if you had big issues with him. And then making statements like, he wants to play Champions League, not Europa, and this and that. And then he signed for Al Nassr. Yeah, I was just like, all right. So, but we do have a couple more things that I want to talk about. So, Manchester United players are astonished by how quickly they have spiraled this season. If I speak, somebody get Mourinho. If I speak, dressing room sources admit the squad is dispirited after the galling 3-1 defeat to Brentford on Saturday, their third Premier League reverse already this term. That's coming from the all but cheerful and shit correspondent, Samuel Luckhurst. And by the way, Samuel Luckhurst, what happened to Lemons starting? Because you said Lemons is starting. So no wonder you're working for the Sun now, because you are full of shit. So I mean, he put this up there. I think our aggregators should do a better job and just stop picking up his news. But I mean, really? Astonished? The players are astonished. I mean, it's not that astonishing. Some of you have done this before. Some of you have been here before. Some of you have done it multiple times to multiple managers. So you shouldn't really be that astonished. And also, you're part to blame as well. So, I mean, and then obviously the obvious one is that no shit, the squad is dispirited. Why would they be? Why would they not be dispirited if we're playing like shit and we can't win matches? It's just normal. So, let's. So, the bigger one that comes in is Ruben Amorim is preparing as normal for Manchester United's game against Sunderland and has been given no indication that he will not be on the touchline at Old Trafford next weekend. It's been business as usual for Amorim since the setback at the G-Tech Community Stadium. The squad were given the day off on Monday. Preparations ahead of Sunderland set to step up once they return to training Tuesday, which is tomorrow. So they should be back in training. There was no training today. Lyle says the famous dressing room leak. Luckhurst is an ass. He is an ass. That's why he works for the Sun now. And not the Manchester Evening. In fact, he probably went to the Sun so he could spew more bullshit, because I think the Manchester Evening News tries to uphold a certain reputation, and you can't spew tabloid bullshit like Chad says. You can't spew tabloid bullshit nonsense if you do work for somebody that's more reputable. What you can do is spew all the tabloid bullshit you want when you work for the Sun. So, yeah, I think I tried to give the guy a little bit of a lane, because he's been doing it for so long. You would assume that he does have some sort of sources, and he does say some things that are true, even though they are negative, and he is a dick. But the fact that he's over at the Sun, I think going forward, whatever he reports, unless I'm having a go at it, I'm probably just going to ignore it going forward. I think he shouldn't be considered credible in any way. What is an aggregator? So an aggregator, Chad, is, well, I'm sure there's a different, there's probably an actual definition, right? But an aggregator is basically somebody that gets a collection of a certain thing. So for us, we have Manchester United aggregators. They are people / accounts / businesses of some sort. What they do is they sift through all the news surrounding Manchester United. So all the journalists that report on Manchester United, that put out articles, that put out news, that put out information, their job is to go and basically they follow all these guys and they repost or repurpose the news that they put out. And it's like one central hub. Yeah. So like you click on this person's profile, they have updates from Ben Jacobs, they have updates from Rob Dawson, they have updates from Fabrizio, anybody that speaks on Manchester United, and they try to do their best with people that have credibility. Like there's some other sources that are more fringe and maybe they're less credible or less big, but yeah, they basically compile all the news and they put them out, and they basically repost the news so that United fans can find them. It's easier to find. You don't have to follow all the journalists, and it's like one central hub for United news. That's basically their job. So yeah, that's what aggregators are. Laz says whoever listens to Luckhurst should get their heads checked. Lawrence Burry says, hope you're well. We'll be utterly embarrassed for the club. We'll be utterly embarrassed for the club again if Ruben Fernandez and their mafia hangs around till the second international break in November. Well, I think it could. I think that probably could happen. There's some factors that lean that way in terms of there's the money aspect. If they sack him now, they got to pay 12 million. If they wait till then, it's less. I don't even know how much. Maybe it's 4 million instead of 12, which is 8 million. So there's that. And then I guess maybe it depends on also the results. I think if he wins at Sunderland, it buys him some more time. If he loses against Sunderland, obviously there's less time. There's also then an international break, and there's 2 weeks. after the Sunderland match, so there could be a potential for it to happen there. But and in terms of Bruno, I mean, Bruno ain't going nowhere until maybe January, maybe. I mean, January is not even guaranteed, but um, you know. And you know what though, on just real quick on the Bruno thing, I would like to know the actual truth of what happened, because he did this twice, yeah? When we were going to the Europa League final, he entertained the offer, or his agent entertained the offer from the Saudi League. And we had a Europa League final to play. Now, you don't do that if you're actually set on staying here. And you especially don't do that when your season is still going. You just had a disaster, and your last and final hopeful chance of salvaging anything and setting yourself up for a better season next season is on the line, and you go and entertain an offer from the Saudi League. Because when they sent him that offer at the end of the season, I mean, before the season ended last season in May, his response should have been, fuck off. I have a Europa League final. I'm in the middle of a season. Come back to me when the season's over. Yeah? But he didn't do that. They entertained the offer. They thought about it. And then nothing came out of it. And then he did it again in the middle of the summer. Now, if he was so set on staying here, why is he entertaining the offers? Because I don't think his head is here anymore. I think he's been here for so many years. He's been through a few managers. He's been on the losing side more time than the winning side. I don't think his head's here anymore. And I would like to know what happened. I would like to know if he actually wanted to go. The club said no. I want to know if Ruben wouldn't let him go, or Ruben wanted him to go and the club said no, or I would like to know what actually happened, because I think something not good happened in that situation, yeah? Lyle says all these so-called journos and fans look for headlines, look for engagements and clicks. Most of it is for rage bait, because some reason they get off on that crap. Well, yeah, it just gets people to react, yeah? Just gets people to react. Lucky says Glazers it out, pen, but Eric bought 2 shirts. Like Man United News, yes. Like Man U News. Are you asking like the account? There's accounts like, yeah, I'll tell you some. There's accounts, and there's actually quite, there's one called like, United District, the United HQ, United Exclusive. There's a ton of them. There's so many of them. Now some are bigger than others. There's one called the United Truthful. I follow a shit ton of them just because sometimes one posts something that the other doesn't. And I try to literally get everything so I don't miss anything. So we talk about literally everything. But yeah, I mean, like, yeah, there's a bunch of them. But there is, I'm seeing right now that there was more stuff, so I just want to get through this. Elias says he thinks his wife played a massive role with that decision. And Elias says the club said that they would not force Bruno out. Ruben said he wants him to stay, but his wife and family were a big fact. That's what they did said, Lyle. And that's the story that we were given, and that's the story that we know. Yeah? I just don't know anymore if I trust that story, per se. One of the things that's been bothering me is what Ruben said a couple weeks ago when he said there was he said something along the lines of there were so many things that happened that you will never know, and that line has been bothering me. It has been bothering the shit out of me, Because what did he mean by that? What did he specifically mean by that? What happened that he's clearly annoyed and pissed about, and he feels like has fucked his situation? And, you know, what is it? What went down? And I would love for him to tell us. Obviously, he's not going to tell us. Maybe he'll say it, you know, when he's no longer the manager. Obviously, he's not going to be able to talk about it for at least like a year because of the do not disclose clause and stuff like that. But that line that he said really bothered me. It really bothered me. It still bothers me because I would like to know what it is. I would like to know what happened. What is he specifically referring to? Is he referring to Bruno? Is he referring to the fact that he had a specific plan for the squad and INEOS chose to go a different route and it's not working and he can't make it work? In terms of he wanted more experience. They didn't really go all out on experience. They got a couple pieces of experience. Did he, you know, I don't know. I mean, we get reported, supposedly the whole midfield thing was him. Supposedly, he was the one that asked for 2 10s and said we can play Bruno as a midfielder and we don't need to get a midfielder. Supposedly that's him. Maybe it wasn't him. Maybe it wasn't him. Maybe something happened. But that line has been bothering me. That he said that. It's really been bothering me. When I wish we could get him to say what it was. Yeah, because I would like to know. Because I think if he said it directly, I think it would be absolutely. I think it would be huge. I think it would probably be quite damaging in terms of, you know, his bosses. I don't know specifically what it would be about, but clearly there's some problems there. So, what did Lucky say? Lucky, relax a little bit. Relax, buddy, relax. If you don't put tacos on the pitch, you don't deserve to play. Well, I agree. If you don't put in the effort, if you don't have the fight, you don't deserve to be on the pitch. I agree with that sentiment 100%, man. And I think that's part of our problem, Lucky. You know what I mean? And, you know, not even specifically for Luke Shaw, just for everybody, and any player. And it literally doesn't matter. Whether you're new or you've been here a few years, you know, everybody. I got a couple more things that I gotta hit real quick, and I want to go in. So I don't want the show to go on too long. So let me just go through these things quick. You guys can comment and chat whatever you want, and I'll get to all of it once I go through everything. It's gonna be a lot of information, so try and keep up. But Laurie Whitwell, the one guy that we do respect and that we do listen to and that we do trust in this world of, you know, trying to determine what's real and what's not and what's bullshit and what's accurate. He was on, I believe this is a podcast. Yeah, it's called Talk of the Devils. And he was on there today and he sort of gave, I guess, his opinion mixed with a bit of knowledge that he has from his sources. So he said this. He said, if Ruben Amorim goes, does that bring the spotlight on Omar Barada and Jason Wilcox, on other people that were involved in getting to this point? So I think that's why they would ultimately want to see it through. I think they do still feel like it could still work, but I think you're getting to a point now where those questions are going to become louder and louder, and ultimately results will dictate it. I think it's fragile. I do think that the hierarchy want it to work because they know what the ramifications are, but I feel that you can't ignore the results if they continue like this. And you know what? I will give massive props and I will give a big shout out to Laurie Whitwell on this because it's a very level-headed thing to say. It's a very level-headed sort of questions to ask. I think they're all valid, and I think he makes very valid and good points. And I think also level-headedness wise, he's very much on the money, and he's basically said everything I've tried to say without the frustration and anger. And my brain going from, one side of the world to the other side of the world in about 3.3 seconds, because I tend to jump all over the place. But I think he's nailed it right on the head. I mean, the situation at hand. And I've been saying, and I said since the summer, I said, if it doesn't go well for Ruben, I can see a situation where he loses the fans, he loses the players, and INEOS being very reluctant, almost to a point of basically ignoring the fans and not sacking him. And I think we're pretty much there. I think if you polled the fans, I think majority-wise, he's lost them. I think majority-wise, they would replace him. I think majority-wise, they would have already sacked him at this point in time. I think he's lost the fans. He's definitely lost some of the players. I don't know how many of the players. I don't know how many are left on his side. But he's losing the players. He's lost some players. And we're getting to the point where it's the fans versus the hierarchy. The hierarchy are absolutely, and you can tell, they are absolutely desperate for this to turn around. They needed to turn around. They wanted to turn around. There are major ramifications from this shit failing, which they are staring down the barrel of it. Not only for their reputation and their job, like their position, such as like Omar and Jason, not only personally on them, but then also, on the football club. And they are very reluctant, which is why they haven't done it yet, which is why they're not probably going to do it unless the next few weeks makes the results worse. And the results are ultimately going to get him sacked. And I said this a couple days ago. It's not the Chelseas. It's not the Liverpools. It's not the Cities. It's not the Arsenals. Now, if you win those matches, obviously it helps. But those aren't the matches that are going to get him sacked. The matches that are going to get him sacked are the Brentfords, are the Sunderlands, are the Brightons, and everybody else. And he's lost to Brentford. We got Sunderland coming up. They're in better form than us. They're playing better than us. And currently, as it stands, they are a better team than us. And if he loses that match, nobody expects us to beat Liverpool, yeah? Nobody expects us to beat Liverpool. Nobody's giving us a chance to get Liverpool. If some miraculous way we get to win that match, we get to win that match. But if I look at it like he takes an L to Brentford, if he doesn't get a win versus Sunderland, if he gets a draw or he gets a loss, even if he beats Liverpool 3-0 somehow, some way, which isn't going to happen, but if it does happen somehow, I still don't think it's enough to save him. And then, this team and this squad, they'll go to Brighton after playing good against Liverpool and putting in a good performance. They'll give you a little bit of hope. They'll go play Brighton, and they'll play the worst match you've ever seen them play. We'll get embarrassed, and we'll get outclassed on every area of the pitch. So they are basically praying and hoping that some miracle happens, that this gets turned around, that he can get some points, but I don't see it. I don't see it. I don't see it with the form of how we're playing, and I don't see how we've been struggling to score goals. I think you build a new attack. The attack obviously is struggling in terms of we have a high number of chances created. We have a high number of shots and stuff like that, but our conversion rate is absolutely shit. And I don't see how he gets it to click in the very, 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 very short amount of time that he has. Because that's what he needs, ultimately. Ultimately, if we're scoring more goals, I think it changes a lot of the situation. We won't be perfect. We're still going to drop points here and there. We're still going to put in shit performances. But if you're scoring goals, it changes the dynamic of every match that we play. But we don't do that, and every match is basically the same. We do okay in the beginning. We miss some chances. The players get discouraged. The other team gets encouraged. They start putting more pressure on us. We give up 1 to 2 absolutely dog shit goals that we shouldn't be doing. We go down 1 or 2-0. Then we try to step up and play better. Sometimes we do. Sometimes we just don't do that. And we lose the match. Or we drop points. So I think Laurie Bobo is right. It's 100% fragile. They definitely want it to work. They know the ramifications, which is they're gonna get blamed for it, but also they're gonna have to spend money they don't want to spend. It's gonna go as a major failure under them, like a huge failure. Like, listen, in terms of their reputation, this is a major L, because the Glazers and their CEOs were shit, yeah, but we've never had this situation. They have never hired a manager that has a 20-something% win rate. They never had a manager get sacked within one season. They never had the club finishing in 15th, 14th. They never had a manager that was incapable of winning 2 matches back to back. They never had a manager that failed to win in about 8 or 9 away matches. For as bad as the Glazers and their CEOs were, I mean, this is a massive blow to INEOS and their reputation, because they have clearly gotten it very, very wrong. And not only did they get it wrong, it's gone so bad that they, in their first stint of picking their own guy and going in their own direction, they have been able in 1 year to do worse than any decision that was made under the Glazers, Richard Arnold, and Ed Woodward. The only thing that they've managed to do better is to pay better fees, transfer fees for players that we bring in. That's the only thing that they've managed to do better. But in terms of setting up sort of a project and trying to build out the project, on their first step, they have fallen flat on their face. And the pressure's going to come with that. And they're not stupid. They're aware of this. And then there's even more pressure, because you fuck this up and they're going to have an opportunity to sort of rectify it again, right? Because they ain't really going anywhere. So now there's more pressure, because when you get rid of this guy, I mean, you got this totally wrong and this didn't work out. The next person, they can't get it wrong again. So they're going to be under massive, massive, massive pressure, even more pressure than they already are. They told him Bruno sells the most shirts and his fans are ticket holders, so you can't keep you can't keep him go. You can't let him go. Well, if they did that, I mean, if they did that, Chad, then if they did that, Chad, then how do you want any manager to succeed? Yeah. To be honest, Bruno does make 1 or 2 tackles out of the 100 minutes played. Well, that's why he should be playing attacking. Yeah. Lucky says new pen taker. Bueno. I mean, yeah, but that I mean, you can do that. I don't think that wouldn't not that it wouldn't go well in terms of like doing that, but I mean, the shitstorm that's brewing in my head right now. When you do that, if you do make that decision, of the nonstop headlines of Bruno removed from penalty taker, captaincy next, armband next, or some shit, and just every press conference fucking question to Ruben will be about Bruno, and it would just be a disaster. And I'm not saying not to do it. I'm just saying I already know what's going to come with that. Lyle says Ruben is their guy, though, their choice, and the expectations on INEOS was that if they come in, we are going to see success. The reluctance is understandable to a certain degree, but it's scary. I mean, well, that's also another. I mean, that is the major point. I mean, it is their guy. They promised us a lot of things. It hasn't gone that way, and it's failing. And also, I mean, good point, Lyle. We are in a dangerous spot because in that interview Sir Jim gave, when he said, you know, we did the internal review and we couldn't really determine if it was Ten Hag's fault or it was the environment. So what we did was we changed the environment, and we're gonna give him an opportunity. And we gave him an opportunity, and then it was quite clear that we made the wrong decision. So we held our hands up, yeah. And instead of what was his exact words? It was something along the lines of, instead of being reactive, where we just kept him to basically cover our own asses. You know, we put our hands up. We said it was our fault. We made a mistake, and we made the change because it was better to make the change than to continue with something that we obviously didn't think was going to work. Well, that's easy to say when you didn't really pick that guy in the first place. That's easy to say and do when you didn't create the situation that they've created now. They promised us a lot. They said a lot of shit. They bring this guy in. This is solely their guy. This is all on them. And now there is a situation where they possibly, to try and protect their ass and their reputation, they may hold out on sacking a manager and losing more points and hurting our season more because they're more concerned about, we needed to work for us so we don't look so fucking bad and so awful, instead of doing the right thing, which is what Sir Jim said in that interview, holding your hands up and say, we've monumentally got this wrong, we've fucked it up, and we're gonna try and go again. And I think all of them are super desperate to be making that statement again, because this one is all on them. The other one, nobody really necessarily blamed them for it, because they were trying to be the good guys. They were trying to be the nice guys, yeah? They had that sort of angle. They were like, listen, you guys know we didn't hire him. He's not our guy. He won the FA Cup. He won the Carabao Cup 3 seasons ago or 2 seasons ago. He finished third, but we've kind of gone backwards. And, you know, we do like him, but we just don't know if it's going to be the direction we want to go. And then, like, you know what? Since we're such good guys, we give him the benefit of the doubt and let him go and let him stay here, and he has an opportunity. And then, you know, we gave him the opportunity, but he clearly wasn't the right guy. We fucked up on that one. We should have a little bit of better judgment. But they kind of wiped their hands clean from that situation after that, yeah? Because for the most part, they were like, well, we didn't hire him in the first place. We didn't oversee 2 of the transfer windows, summer transfer windows that he was here for. So most of the shit that happened, not our fault. You know, don't really look at us. They're like, yeah, we should have probably just sacked him. But you know what? We sacked him now. Don't worry about it. We're going to get the guy for you. We're going to go somewhere. They can't say that now. They can't do that now. They can't wipe their hands clean of this. They have their hands is the blood is all over the hands on this one. And there's no way for them to just wash it and move on from this. Yeah. So they are desperate for this to turn around. The last thing they want to do is sack him, and then have Sir Jim or Omar or Jason Wilcox having to come out and make statements about how it didn't work, they got it wrong. They'll probably put out some shit from the club through journalists, through anonymous sources, throwing Ruben a little bit more under the bus, trying to get the blame off of them and put more of the blame on him. Come out and make some statements of, listen, the project is still on course and we're still going for, you know, project 150 or whatever the fuck it is. And, you know, we've fucked it up, but we're going to make it good again. They don't want to deal with any of that. They don't want to deal with any of that. So INEOS correct to be with manager at difficult moments time. But lucky, we've been here before. The last thing you want is this stuff coming out. The last thing you want is sources from the club giving information to journalists, telling them that the club is standing behind. It's the voted dread of confidence, yeah? The last thing you actually want is the club to be putting out unofficial statements saying that they're behind the manager, they're behind the manager, they're behind the manager. I think that they probably... listen, again, they could be incompetent, but I don't think that they're not brain dead people, yeah? I think they can see, and they've been at the matches. I think they can see the writing is on the wall. But I think they're doing what human beings sometimes do, where we are reluctant to make the change, and they are hoping that it goes away. You know, it's kind of like, you ever have like a toothache or something, and nobody likes the dentist, yeah? Nobody wants to go to the dentist. Everybody is the dentist. You ever have a toothache and it's been like hurting you for like a day or two, and you start doing that worrying thing, and you're like, God, I hope it goes away. Like, I don't want to go to the dentist. And you refuse to go to the dentist, yeah? Because you just don't want to go. It's a pain in the ass. You don't like the dentist. They cause you pain. And every time you go, you know, there's always something wrong, and you got to do some procedure that causes you a bunch of pain. You don't want to go. And that's kind of like this. Like, they don't want to go to the dentist. They have a major pain. They're fucking ignoring it, hoping that it goes away. And in fact, it's not going to go away. It's going to get worse. The tooth is going to get infected, and you're going to have to do much more of a process than you would have to do if you just dealt with it now. Because, and I'm saying this analogy from experience, yeah? Because that happened to me. All right? I had a tooth pain, and I hate the dentist, and I didn't want to go to the dentist, and I sat there for about a week, and some days it would feel a little bit better, but then it would always come back, and it was worse, and I sat on it for a week, and then I was like, you know what? I was like, it's not going away. I was like, it's been a week. I was like, it would have went away. I went to the dentist. I had my wisdom tooth, had to come out. The wisdom tooth got infected, and they were like, we can't pull it out because you can die if we do that. So you need to take antibiotics, and you need to take another week for the antibiotics to work. And then we have to take it out. So I prolonged the inevitable. I made it worse for me because I was sitting in pain for a week. And then I was sitting in another week in pain when I didn't need to do that. And then also the dentist told me, yeah, don't do that next time, because he's like, you could die from the infection as well, which I didn't know. So yeah, I mean, they're doing the same. They're doing the same, right? They are reluctant to make the change. And I think they're just delaying the inevitable, unfortunately. I still like the guy. I feel bad for him. I feel like it's unfortunate. It's sad that this has gotten to this point. I wanted him to succeed. I just don't see how things turn around in the short amount of time that he clearly, obviously has. And I think there's just far too many problems, and I don't think he has solutions or answers for it to turn it around. And also, I think his stubbornness isn't helping. It's one thing if it's a system in formation. It's another thing when you keep picking the same set of starting players and they keep performing like shit, and you have the freedom to change them. And they're not really showing signs. They're not really getting the job done for you. So I don't understand why he's sticking by him, because they're not really sticking by you. They're not doing the job for you. So just real quick, if anybody's seen this or heard this, I'm just calling it out. But there's some guy named Indy Khalil or something. He reported, I think, something in the summer transfer window. One time he got it right or something. And he called the story before Laurie Whitwell and all the other ones. So he got a little bit of fame off of that. But I don't really follow him. But I saw him put out this, and his name was in it, but I accidentally cut it out. He put out this story. If you see this story or hear this anywhere, if you see this repeated anywhere, it's not true. I'm going to show you why. But this guy reported this, saying that apparently Ruben Amorim was called in by the bosses at Manchester United for an urgent meeting. Apparently, the manager, or Ruben, had been asked to change the formation to a 4-3-3. Ruben was left speechless with the formation request, and then certain United officials believe the manager is to get sacked is now, when, and not if at this stage. This is made up, this is fake, and this is bullshit. So if you see this anywhere on social media or whatever, if it's anything about Ruben was called into a meeting, and they asked him to change the formation, it's not true. It didn't happen. There was no meeting. Nobody was at Old Trafford today. There's no meeting. And the reason why is because Sully Talks, who's credible and way more credible than that guy, he actually saw this and he called them out for bullshit. And that guy is not a specific United guy either. He reports on all types of clubs. So he was just using our name and the situation for attention. And Sully set, who I respect, Sully set the record straight, said Ruben Amorim earlier this month literally said, "I won't change my philosophy. If INEOS want it changed, you can change the man," which he made it quite clear and obvious. I mean, them having a meeting and telling them to play a 4-3-3. If that happened, we would have got news that Ruben has walked from the club, because if they did that, I think Ruben would just walk. Yeah. And he would refuse. And then also, if he refuses, I assume that INEOS would have just sacked him. But for the bigger point, Ruben wasn't called in for any meeting today, as they had a rest day. And yesterday, it was family training day. So there was no meeting. They weren't at the ground today. And yesterday was family training day. So there was a whole event going on. There was no time for a closed doors meeting between the hierarchy and Ruben. So, and he asked, "Please stop lying on my club's name." So that's fake if you see that anywhere. So, John Kahn says, "Stop buggering sheep." I don't know what that means though. I don't know what that means exactly. I'm sorry if I'm stupid or something. I'm not getting it. I think we might speak a different, a bit of a cultural difference. I don't really know what that means. For the news, and then we're done with the show for today. But for the news that came out while we were live, because I do give you everything, and I know it's a lot, but I think it's important that we covered all. Yeah. Where did we hit? Ben Jacobs was given some updates, which is important that we need to get to. So, Jamie Carragher said something to say, but I don't really give a shit what he has to say. He's a Scouse, an ex-Liverpool player. One of these guys said David Moyes, Louis van Gaal, Jose Mourinho, and Solskjaer all finished between 5th and 7th before being sacked. Ruben finished 15th last season and currently sits 14th. I mean, even though it's like 3-point difference this season, but that's not why I'm worried. That it's not because we're in 14th right now. It's because of the form. But they asked, are INEOS too embarrassed to admit they got their first managerial appointment wrong? And I think that's a valid question to ask, because it does seem like that is playing a big factor. And what's going on? Jamie Carragher, speaking on Ruben, said that he thinks Ruben is still in a job because the club has made so many mistakes that they don't want to admit to another one. The sooner Manchester United make the decision to part ways, the better. Well, you know what? Fair play. I do think that is something that you can quite argue right now, especially because, I mean, you can just tell they are desperate for this to turn around. And anybody with a football brain and that has watched football and a football fan, I think it's quite obvious that you know that the inevitable might get delayed, but you know that it's not. From what we see, there's just no way that this actually gets turned around. It's like so massively big. There's no way that you turn this around. I mean, if he was to turn it around, he probably ends up here. I mean, I think the last time somebody turned it around was basically Fergie. And I don't think he's no Fergie, you know what I mean? So, and I don't think you're gonna see. I don't think you're gonna see a repeat of Fergie. And if you do, I don't think it's gonna be from Ruben. So, Ben Jacobs said if Oliver Glasner was offered the United job, he would take it in a heartbeat. So he's another one. I mean, Glasner apparently would take it as soon as we offer it to him. Xavi is apparently would take it immediately right now. So, interesting. Again, I don't know how the fans. Again, I don't know if the fans are doing such a deep dive on certain, but some fans out there, I don't think they actually take the time to look into things. But if Glasner has, he's doing a good job at Crystal Palace. He's won them an FA Cup. He beat Liverpool. The results are good. But I know our fans, and I know that there is no way that they are going to accept that guy coming to United and having us play with 30% possession every match. They will get bored of it, and they will shit all over him after watching United be playing 30% possession, not controlling the game, and doing counterattack. They will not accept that guy after a certain period of time. Now, some of us will be okay because some of us just, you know, if the team is winning and we're getting results and we're getting better in the table and we're getting in a better position, we can kind of put up with if the football is boring or kind of, you know, not entertaining, or it's not as aggressive as we wanted to in terms of, you know, we don't control the match, we don't dominate the possession, but we're getting results. But there's a lot of our fans, there's no way they're gonna go with that, and they're gonna turn on him. So I just don't know with that guy. I think he's a decently good manager and he's done well at Crystal Palace, and I think the fact that he plays a similar system and style and formation to Ruben, I think would maybe make the transition better, considering we just spent about a year trying to do it, and it hasn't really been working. And maybe he can get it to work because he's a different guy with different ideas and different tweaks, and he's, you know, he's doing good managing at Crystal Palace in the Premier League. But I don't see our fan base accepting a guy coming in and playing 30% possession football every week in, week out. I just don't see it. But yeah, apparently we got two guys on this so-called list that we don't. That's apparently not a list, but it is a list. Xavi and Glasner apparently would take the job if we offered it to them right now. They would accept it without blinking an eye. So, at the very least, we got two guys, I guess, on a short list that doesn't apparently exist according to the club. But I mean, I think if you're INEOS, you gotta be real and be like, we'll back him, but there's gotta be some sort of a list, even a rough draft, even if it's just a fucking napkin with 3 names on it and nothing else written. I mean, you gotta have it. You gotta have it. There's just no way you don't. Ben Jacobs, Manchester United remain supportive of Amorim, yet are quietly preparing for a possible successor. I mean, but they have to. Any decision to dismiss him would be taken reluctantly. They made that abundantly clear. Yeah, I'm not here for Jamie Carragher's opinion on our football club. You talk about Liverpool. Ben Jacobs, again speaking, because he went on Talk Sport as well, and was asked about managers that could replace Amorim if he's sacked. He said Gareth Southgate is well liked by certain members of the Manchester United hierarchy. If they were to go for Southgate, I'd be surprised. If speaking to sources, if Wait, what? I'd be surprised if speaking to sources if he was prepared to take the role mid-season. Um, and that will be another consideration as well. For Southgate, I don't see him just diving in mid-season and being a quick fix. So if they were to go down that route, they would have to give Southgate even more time and patience than Amorim. I mean, he's barely gotten a year. So I mean, I think Gareth Southgate would have even less than Ruben Amorim. I think Gareth Southgate would probably have about 2 or 3 months before everybody literally. I mean, I think on day one there's going to be half of our fan base saying Gareth Southgate out. So I don't think that would be a smart choice. And I don't think it would go well. He then said if Oliver Glasner was offered the Man United job, he would take it in a heartbeat. Adoni Iriola hasn't signed a new deal at Bournemouth yet and is believed to have a release clause. Marco Silva's contract is also understood to have a release clause, so there are options. Well, I don't want Marco Silva, and I wouldn't go with Marco Silva. I mean, Glasner, if they do it, I'll go with it and see how it goes. If they go with the Iriola, the same. We'll see how it goes, and, I'll back them. And I hope it works well. I don't know how well it would work, but I think those two, I'm taking them over. I prefer them over Marco Silva. I prefer anybody basically over Gareth Southgate. Yeah, and also another thing is maybe we do need a guy that has Premier League experience. And that has already managed in the Premier League and has done decently well in the Premier League. I think maybe we should do that. I think maybe it would actually give us a fighting chance. I think maybe we should stop for our current situation, unless we build something that's very strong. I think we should stop looking outside sort of the Prem and going to other leagues and bringing in a manager. I think it's just too much that needs to change. There's too much adaptability. I think if you look at Ten Hag, you look at Ruben, they didn't understand the Prem. They didn't understand, they had to get adjusted to it. They need to learn it. And they need to do that while also dealing with another 50 different issues that are in our squad already. So I think we need somebody that understands the league, understands the football, has already performed in it, knows the teams, knows how they plays. So that's a lot less things that the manager has to deal with and worry about. Apparently, Manchester United are working hard in America and Africa to find youth talents like Orozco and Dabo. All right, a little bit of transfer news there. Yeah, I don't care about Jamie Carragher. Fabrizio Romano told us an hour ago that United wants to see results, and that is starting from the next game. Ruben Amorim's job is not completely safe. The club are respecting him and waiting for improvement. So, yeah, I mean, it's quite clear his job is not completely safe. I mean, they're still backing him. They're hoping it turns around, but I think anybody can tell it's not. He's not going to be able to turn it around. The results are coming. The matches are coming too fast, too thin. It's too many big problems. The ship is sinking, yeah, and there's no way to stop it from sinking. So it will sink, and that's going to be the end, unfortunately. So Fabrizio again on Southgate and Ruben, and he said today I revived many questions from some of you about the Manchester United hierarchy already meeting with face-to-face with Gareth Southgate. My understanding from United sources, they're playing down all the reports, saying that Sir Jim or anyone at the club already met with Southgate to discuss the possibility of or for him to United manager. The relationship between people at INEOS is very good with Gareth Southgate, and that's why we have links. At the moment, I'm not aware of any concrete negotiation. I'm not aware of any proposal. I'm not aware of Manchester United going around and telling managers Southgate or anyone else, like, we want you to be the new boss. So yeah, that's where we stand right now. But I think they're starting to formulate some ideas. What else? I think that might be all. Might be all. Refresh real quick. Double check. Yeah, that's it. We covered all of that stuff. So, um, Chad says, "Call me Gandalf the Red. I am the all wise. I saw this coming, and you people argued. We're allowed to argue, and I mean, saw what coming? What did you see coming? You saw this coming. What did you see coming? It means stop butchering sheep. Are you America? Yeah, yeah. Calling people scows and you're American. I'm not allowed to call people scows. I didn't know that was a rule. I didn't know that was a law. I'm not allowed to call people scows. Since when? When's that a rule? When's that a law? Ray says, what that have to do where you are in today world? The information is there too. Brighton Nembayo says this coach must sack because formation is not working. Nah, see again, I mean, fair play. I mean, he said it, yeah, and he said if you want, if that's what you want, and you want the formation change, you want a system change, then change the man. So if that's what you want, then I guess. But still, again, I still think the problems are way bigger than just a slight manager change or a slight formation change. And the next guy is gonna have many problems, and he's still gonna have to use these sets of players. And I don't think it's gonna go so well. And also, I mean, people really don't like Ruben, and I'm telling you now, if these morons get Gareth Southgate, good luck to all of you. Good luck to all of you, and have fun. Enjoy that. Enjoy that. Enjoy that. Because again, I'd rather just watch Ruben lose every week than watch Gareth Southgate on the touchline at my football club. No. No. I can't. I can't even picture it. Because when I picture it, it makes me mad. And it pisses me off. He is not the fucking guy. He can never be the guy. He will never be the guy. He shouldn't even be in consideration. The fact that his name is linked with us because he's friends with people in associated to INEOS. I mean, if INEOS want to end their any sort of respect or you know, any of their reputation that they have left, if they want to end it in one shot, hire Gareth Southgate. Let's see how that goes. I'm sure it'll go real well. Sure, it'll go real well. It won't. It's gonna end in failure. So, listen, I'm sure there's gonna be more stuff to talk about. Let's see what happens. We're still on a pretty much a week to week basis. We do have an international break coming up. I mean, we're heading towards the next match versus Sunderland, and the implications and the stories of whatever comes out of that game. So we're gonna see. Brighton says Southgate failed England national. We must search someone. Yeah, I mean listen. His football is shit. Yeah, he bottled two. He bottled two Euros. He bottled 2 Euros. He bottled a World Cup as well. He's just not good. There's no way he should be United manager. He can't even get a job in the Premier League if it's not for being English and having connections with somebody, yeah? So, which is why he's still sitting at home. Because you know what? Gareth, if you want a job, there was a couple clubs. West Ham needed somebody. I mean, they got somebody now, but West Ham needed somebody, and there was Forest. But these guys they didn't even consider you. I wonder why. Maybe they don't like waistcoats. Maybe they just don't like shit managers with shit football. So, but yeah, listen, it's been a good show. A lot we had to talk about a lot because I had to cover a bit of what came out yesterday and what came out today. So it was a lot of information. This uncertainty is going to continue, but I mean, I think it's done, man. I think it's done, and we're pretty much just sitting and waiting. Yeah. I just don't see. I mean, I was hoping the past couple of weeks. You kept hoping, you know, like there was some hope, like we could start now from this Chelsea match. But you go play Brentford, and you see that happening, and it's always the same thing. You know what I mean? You get a decent performance, or maybe a little bit of a lucky result, and you say, okay, got a bit lucky, but now like we have to take our chance. Like now is the opportunity. We start the season now, and you go into the next match, and it's just an absolute disaster. And we just did it twice, back to back. You know, we managed to get 3 points. We got a bit lucky. We got a pen versus Burnley, and we got the 3 points. I'm like, all right, like it's a good 3 points. It's kept us in. We go to City. City look a little bit wobbly. To Derby, we lose 3-0. We get outbeaten all over the place. We go play Chelsea. We play pretty good. We get a bit fortunate to get a red card. We score 2 goals. We fuck ourselves a little bit. We got a bit lucky. We got away with it. We managed to keep them, you know, from tying it up. They go, all right, we're back in it a little bit. Now we need to go and win against Brentford. We go against Brentford, and we do the same thing that we did at Brentford that we did to City. And now you expect them. All right, we're going to play Sunderland. Surely, you got to get a win. And those are the matches that scare me, because when we say surely you can't lose this, and then surely that's what we do. So, Southgate had access to a pool of players, and all he had to do was pick and choose. Like, it's FIFA, but club football is a different. It is. He won't survive. He won't survive. I'm telling you now. Nobody actually really wants him, but I'm just saying. There's just no chance. There's just no chance, and I won't back it. I won't back it. He's the only one in the entire planet I won't back, because there's literally no other manager that's worse than him. There's nobody worse than him. So. Yeah, no transfer strategy, and he couldn't get a trophy, so no. Yeah, I mean, it would be a disaster lie. It's literally the worst thing ever. So, and I'm tired of his name being linked to us. I think it's like it's so embarrassing. It's so embarrassing. Like, if we hire Gareth Southgate, the amount of banter and the amount of piss that people are going to take out of us. I mean, we're already banter as it is. We're already made fun of as it is. If we hire Gareth Southgate, we're going to get absolutely ripped to shreds by Liverpool fans, Chelsea fans, Arsenal fans. We'll get ripped to shreds by fucking Brighton fans and Brentford fans. More than we already are now. But, I mean, just more. Just way more. I mean, they're going to be like, you guys are so fucking shit. You hired Gareth Southgate. They're not even going to talk. They're just going to laugh at us. They're literally just going to laugh in our face. It's not. They're not even going to say anything. They're just going to literally. They're going to say, "You guys hired Gareth Southgate as the manager," and they're literally just going to go, "Ha ha ha ha," and laugh right in our face. They're going to laugh right in our face. It will be the most embarrassing thing we've ever witnessed this football club ever do. So Brian says, let's take Oliver Glasner and bring Michael or bring Michael Carrick is better. I mean, I'll take either one of those at this point. The higher Gareth Southgate tweets are not from fans, in my opinion. No, I don't think anybody. I don't think our fans aren't saying that. There's no United fan that's asking for. That's actually serious about asking for Gareth Southgate. There's not a single United fan. It might be that one guy, you know, in the basement somewhere. But on a serious note, there's nobody seriously asking for Gareth Southgate. There's nobody that actually wants to see that. There just isn't. There isn't. Most people I see, a lot of people are saying they want Xavi. Some people like Brighton are saying get Glasner in. Again, the Glasner thing, I think they need to do a little bit more studying, though. If you're okay with 30% possession and playing a lot of counterattack and not controlling the game, but we get results, then that's fine. Just know what you're asking for before we get it, so you don't get so disappointed when you're watching the match and you were expecting some sort of a form of total football or something, and us dominating every single match, because with Glasner, you're not going to get it. He might get us the results and he might get us the points, but if you want United to play sort of how the old United used to play, which was like dominating, quick and stuff like that, and controlling the match, I don't think you're going to get it with Glasner. I think with Glasner, you'll get a team that's shaped well and organized very well and works hard and can get you wins and can get you points. But it's not going to be the most scintillating, exciting football. It's not going to be that sort of traditional United attacking football. So if you want the football to be good and exciting and entertaining, the Glasner's not your guy. You might want to go with somebody else. If you just want to see the team get stable, get some points, and be competitive, and duke it out, then Glasner could probably would do that. While I'm talking about it, somebody literally said I would definitely take Oliver Glasner. People that say they don't want him because he plays a back three simply don't know enough about him. He has literally said his favorite formation is a 4-4-2. He also said that he plays whatever system suits the players best. Well, all right, fair enough. So maybe he changes it. Maybe he plays that way for Crystal Palace. But I think as a manager over his time, I don't think he's really played. I don't think he's really played dominant football at his time as a manager. So, yeah. Gray started Southgate revolution. No manager is going to succeed at United before we change the owner Glazes out. That's what I was said in the beginning of the show, and probably, and for that fact, that's why I'm not going to get too carried away when they do make the change, and when the change does happen. We'll talk about it, and we'll live in real life, and we're not going to pretend, and we're not going to ignore things. But I don't have any. I don't have too much hope for any manager out there. I don't. Every time a manager pops into my head, I'm just like, what's the point? I don't think that they'll be able to survive, man. I don't. Probably see this happening a couple more times. Unless unless our club literally turns into mid-table and just stays there, and we permanently lose. When I mean permanently, I mean like over the course of the next 4 years or something, we permanently lose the European money. I just don't see how these guys leave. I don't see how they leave. I don't see why they leave. Unless, I don't know, a Qatari guy or somebody out there with hundreds of billions wakes up one day and just goes, fuck it. Here's 10 billion Glazes. Get the fuck out and give me the football club. Which I think you have a 0.0000000000001% chance of that happening. So, that's the thing. Box says, I do think Southgate was too pragmatic as a manager, but at the same time, the players should take some responsibility too. They continually let England down. Nah, I think it's literally all. I think that was all on Gareth Southgate. I don't think he was too he was definitely too pragmatic, and I think that was literally the major factor in them failing. The players, some of them, they got to take some responsibility, but I think overwhelmingly, I think if there wasn't a manager as pragmatic as he was, I think England would have had at least one something. They would have at least one Euro right now. Something. I think in the last 3 competitions, I think they would have won at least one of them. So I blame him a lot for that. I mean, even some of the decisions, like when we went to the penalty shootout and he subbed in Rashford and he subbed in, who else did he sub in? Sancho? And did he sub in Saka as well when they didn't play the whole match and he subbed them in to take penalties? It was like, dude, are you so stupid that you're gonna sub them in to take a penalty? They didn't kick a ball the entire match. You didn't sub them on 15 minutes before. Let them get a feel for the game. Let them run around. Let them you sub them in right before it ended for them to go take a penalty. Every single one of them missed. Every single one of them missed. Because it was a stupid and dumb move to do. It's what a naive bad manager would do. And then they all got racist abuse for it as well. So which isn't Gareth's fault, but I'm just saying, like, I take a 1-0 every game and 10% possession. Well, that's fine. I'm just saying, because there's some fans out there that, you know, they don't know these things, box, and they say, yeah, get Glasner. You know what I mean? Because they don't really watch Palace. They don't watch how they play. They don't really watch Glasner, or they don't know anything about Glasner in terms of what he was as a manager before he was at Palace. And they just see, oh yeah, he won the FA Cup, and oh look, they just beat Liverpool 2-0. They must be playing good football. They must be, like, they don't really watch. They don't pay attention, yeah? And they just say, oh, he plays a 3-4-2-1, and you know, he beat Liverpool and they're doing well. Go get him. Then he comes to United and he plays the way that he's playing, and then they're there and they're sitting there wondering what the fuck is going on. This is the football we're playing with 30% possession. And they're like, nah, fuck this. I don't want to watch this. This is boring as fuck. I don't want to watch this. This is football as shit. I was like, well, you asked for it. You didn't know that that's what he did? You didn't take the time to check that out? When he asked him, you just assumed because he's getting a 2-1 versus Liverpool, or because he won the FA Cup, that he's playing, I don't know, top-tier Barcelona tiki-taka football or some shit. So, but, you know, if you do know about that and you're fine with that, that's fine. I mean, I, per se, would like to see us play quick, attacking, direct. I'm going to be quite honest, and maybe I shouldn't be saying this as a United fan, but the way Liverpool play, I would like to see us play that way. I actually feel quite aggrieved that Liverpool play the way they do right now, because I see it, and it feels to me that Liverpool are playing the way that we used to play in, like, 2008. And I don't know what we're doing anymore. But when I watch them play in the way that they play, it gives me old United vibes. And I kind of feel like they stole. And I'm not saying they did, but it kind of just feels to me they kind of stole what we did, and they're doing it now, and we're not doing it, and we're fucking lost. And it pisses me off. I would like to see something like that. I would like to see, like, very direct intentative, quick, aggressive, attacking football. I don't want to see really the players standing on the ball and passing it from one center back to the other center back, and then that guy taking like 4 touches, looking up, passing it to the guy next to him 5 feet to pass it back to that guy just to give it to the guy they should have gave it to in the first place. I don't really want to see that. But if somebody comes in and they play sort of a more defensive football, but they're getting the results and they're getting the points and they're making it work, I will be okay with that. I will be okay with that. I can, if they're getting points and they're getting us wins and they're making us, you know, solid, and we have consistency, I can live with if the football is a little bit boring, it's a little bit shit. Because I will take 3 points every day over watching us kind of be like Spurs of the past, where they play good football, but they take the piss week in, week out on results. I think that's pointless. I think it's pointless to play very good football and you can't compete. So if we're competing and the football is a little bit dull and it's a little bit boring, but he's got us getting results and he's got us going somewhere and we're going up, I'll be okay with that. But ideal world, I would love nothing more than having my cake and eat it too, where we play very scintillating attacking football, and we also get the wins, get the points. So, Lyle says Project 150 is looking bleak. It is, and that's also one of those things. That's why I think we would have to wait to get there, because they're gonna kind of hold that over our heads, yeah, as long as they can, until they can't, and when that fails, I mean, they're gonna be in deep shit. There should be protests, and yeah, I mean, that's gonna collapse out from under them, and then if they decide to leave, I don't know what the Glazers are gonna do, but we got to see. England players always bottle the big moments, to be fair, with every manager. They do. I will give you that. England is kind of cursed in that aspect. Losing the Euro at home was type. I mean, if you ever had the opportunity to uncurse it, I feel like it was then. But listen, England still has a very good squad. Let's see what this guy does. Let's see what this guy does with them, right? I would say that he's a way better manager than Gareth Southgate, and we pretty much have the same squad. So we'll see. Like I always usually say, the proof will be in the pudding. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, he's here, he's in charge. He's got a World Cup coming up. Let's see how he does. He's not a Gareth Southgate. He's nowhere near Gareth Southgate. If he manages to win, I guess we'll be vindicated. If not, then maybe Gareth will be a bit vindicated in that way. Some of them pens was terrible. No, they were. I mean, but Sancho missed for us and lost us the Community Shield. He did. Benching informed Cole Palmer in the 2024 final was strange. I mean, yeah, they do a lot of that shit. What is? I don't know. All right, but guys, we're getting out of here. So be good. Is there Champions League this week? Before we get out of here, there's Champions League? There is Champions League. So what I'll do is, what day is this? Oh, where are we? This is Monday, yeah? Tuesday? Wednesday? Is there no... There's Europa League on Thursday. So I would like to do a stream on Wednesday. So Wednesday, I'm going to do it earlier, because I'm going to do it before the Champions League matches, because I don't want to do streams while there's Champions League matches going on. So before the 8 p.m. games on Wednesday, Champions League wise, we'll probably do a stream an hour before, and we'll stream for like about an hour or something, and then we'll go back on Friday, because I kind of want to do the schedule Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then we always have to do one on the weekend. So that's what I'm trying to do right now. The Champions League thing makes it difficult, because yeah, I want to watch them, and also a lot of people are watching them, and yeah, I just don't want to stream during Champions League matches. There's usually not really any news about United anyway either. So I plan on not streaming tomorrow. If a lot of big news comes out, I might go live. So like I'll let you guys know in the Discord if I'll go live. But the plan is stream today. We stream Wednesday. We'll do it an hour before. I'll remind you guys, of course. So an hour before the Champions League matches kick off, the nighttime matches, and then we'll take off Thursday as well, and we'll come and stream Friday, and we'll do a Friday freestyle, and we'll kind of mix in whatever happened over the course of Thursday and Friday of that day as well. So, but yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you for all the support. Thank you to everybody that smashed the like button. It is a major help. So you did that for us. We greatly appreciate it as always. Shout out to all of you guys in the chat. Top fans for today: Lyle, number 1; Box, number 2; Axe, who left us a while ago, number 3; Lucky, number 4; Chad, number 5. Chiquinia 6, Brighton at 7, Grace at 8, Rajat at 9, John Khan at 10. And yeah, so shout out to you guys. Thank you for getting involved. And thank you for all the support. Be good. Enjoy the rest of your nights. Enjoy tomorrow as well. And we'll see each other on Wednesday. And we'll speak then. All right.